The chicken, seeing this, asked, Naiwan Rusilo, and I Hai Xiang Chu Nar? He put a finger to his lips and turned to it, saying, Curiosity killed the cat, don't ask so many questions. Shaw, who was in a very good mood. He had just broken through to the Saint Body realm, expending a lot of energy, and now he needed to find his master to replenish it. Chimingye's cave dwelling. Today, she wore a blue cheongsam, accentuating her seductive curves and revealing her long, white legs. She was currently resting on a high platform. Hearing the noise, she opened her eyes. Why is this mischievous brat here again? You delinquent, why are you here looking for me instead of resting in your room at this late hour? Su, whose voice remained as playful as ever, his fingers adjusting his collar. A few days apart, I was afraid Master would miss his disciple. My aptitude is still too poor, I'm bothering Master by receiving teachings and guidance. Her beautiful image was captivating. Truly a celestial beauty, just sitting there, she naturally exuded a captivating fragrance of orchids. So as Xiao approached her, Chimengdai leaned back to avoid him. You scoundrel, don't you dare be disrespectful! His hand reached for her thigh, a playful grin on his face. My disciple has arrived, so Master shouldn't waste such a beautiful scene. Come with me to the bedchamber. Chimingdia's eyes were hazy, as if bewitched. 6 hours later. The system detected that you and your master's Tianxiang physique are unsealed, continuously increasing your cultivation aptitude. A total of 600 points. A total of 800 points. A grand total of 1,000 points. Finally, Chu Xiu's aptitude reached 2,214 points. After the dual cultivation, Chimengdai lay on the bed, exhausted. So Yu stood up, adjusted his sleeves, and left. He didn't forget to close the door when he left. Strangely, although exhausted, a smile appeared on Chimengdia's lips as she lay there. He rubbed his aching back. Unexpectedly, women were so terrifying. If he had known earlier, he would have sealed her cultivation. The system mocked him. Unexpectedly, the host, who was a primordial saint physique, couldn't endure it. Host, you really are incompetent. Even if you're unmatched, you still can't break free. It chuckled, feeling triumphant. Yes, I glared at it. Chuckle your head off. Thinking about her actions today, he felt something was off. But today she seemed very strange. Clearly, her cultivation wasn't sealed, yet she was very cooperative. 3 days later, Chu Xiu sat under a tree roasting a chicken. One hand propped against his cheek, he gazed thoughtfully at the chicken. In the past 3 days, he had obtained quite a bit of cultivation aptitude from his Shizuan. A breakthrough in cultivation was only a matter of time. I wonder what Sister Hua wants to see me about today. When I see her later, I'll subtly try to figure things out. I can't let her continue to be so arrogant. At this moment, a small, chittering spiritual rat approached. He glared at it sharply, making the mouse cower in fear. Then, a girl's voice rang out. You're being too aggressive, you've scared the mouse. Hua Luofei walked over with a smile. He quickly explained, Huajiji, you misunderstand me. It is timid. I was just looking at it. A young man and woman sat close together. Seeing him staring, she asked, Why are you looking at me like that? Sister Hua, are you seeing anyone? She sat cross-legged, her voice soft as she said, Cultivators ascend in accordance with their realms, their appearances becoming closer to the natural Tao, ever more beautiful. My looks in the cultivation world are not outstanding, so naturally, no one pursues me. Suho clasped his hands in regret. It's because they're blind, he said. As I see it, your sister is truly beautiful. Sister, you remind me of a poem. She asked curiously. What poem is that? His voice rang out cool and clear beneath the moonlight. The clouds reminded him of flowing robes, the flowers of her face. A spring breeze drifted across the veranda, heavy with dew. She must be a celestial being from the Jade Mountains, or a fairy from a moonlit palace. Hua Luofei blushed, her eyes sparkling. I didn't know you could write poetry. The poem is very beautiful, but I'm not as beautiful as described. Soshio covered his mouth and chuckled inwardly. Those essays weren't wasted after all. He hesitated, then his voice turned serious. That's Flower sister. How about I chase after you, big sis? I really like you, big sis. You're like this, looking at the person beside you with such infatuation. She stood there, speechless, looking at him. She covered her mouth and chuckled. How old are you to dare pursue me? Do you know how old I am? So Hugh said without hesitation. I'm really quite old. His eyes were glued to her ample bosom. Hua Luofei covered her chest with her hands, blushing as she scolded him. You deserve a beating. I didn't expect you to be such a pervert. So Hu said innocently. It's a man's right to appreciate the beauty of a woman. You can't take away my rights as a man. Besides, age isn't an issue. As the saying goes, marrying a woman older than you by 3 years ensures future wealth. You said that I'm probably 3,000 years older than you, right? This time, he came closer, taking her hand. The 3,000-year-old woman was listed in the immortal decree. Sister, marry me, eternal life awaits. It's true, super serious, even more real than the top-grade pearls from the Southern Sea Snow King. Fine words, she smirked. Little guy, are you trying to seduce me? Soashio maintained his pretense. This isn't seduction, I just can't hold back my feelings. Besides, my dear flower sister isn't small at all. He cheerfully offered her a chicken leg, saying, Jia, please try my cooking. Hua Luofei took a bite, his mouth praising the cooking skills of the man. Not bad. Chu Xiu proudly boasted, this spirit beast's cultivation is too low, and its taste is ordinary. I heard that the meat of a great Saint Realm wild beast is incredibly delicious, even more nourishing than ancient king medicines. After my cultivation rises, I will hunt and kill a great Saint wild beast and roast it for Jia. He poured himself another cup of wine. Come on, good sister, let's have a drink. You said you don't know how to drink. Chu Xiu poured her a cup. Sister, have a drink with me. This is a local wine called Xiangyi. Hua Luofei praised, so it's this. I've heard of it. This wine is quite famous in the Tianqi dynasty. Two figures stood together, gazing at the sky. Xiangyi, yellow sand rising, the ancient western pass wind with its emaciated horses, a long, long attachment, tears filling her robe. Xiangyi, under the slanting sunlight, outside the village road, the mountain paths winding with yellow earth, in her heart, unable to bear it, she turned back. Xiangyi, her heart filled with grief, the light of a knife meeting across countless miles, not as good as turning back to face the parting. Perhaps while Luofei was getting drunk, his voice different than usual. You miss home, don't you? I miss it. This Xiangyi poem, not looking far into the starry abyss. What's wrong? Aren't you from this starry sky? Soashio quickly denied it. How could I be? I heard the senior who brewed Xiangyi came from the outer realm, the ancient life star. I just borrowed this illusion to make up a line. She finished the glass of wine in her hand, so that's how it is. He asked with concern, his left hand holding hers, his right hand resting on her waist. Hua Jia, you really don't know how to drink, are you already drunk? Her face was flushed. A little. That's right, I heard you're about to become the saint's son, congratulations. He helped her up so she could put her arm around his shoulder. Sister Hua, aren't the Holy Son's privileges great? She replied that they were quite substantial, at least greater than those of this Dao Yun Peak elder. Chu Xiu loosened his hand from her waist. Sweetly, she whispered. Then let's ask the Holy Master to let me marry Jia, okay? Hua Luofei suspected the Holy Master wouldn't agree. His voice became even more domineering. How will you know if you don't try? Her eyes were hazy as she looked at him. It's not about whether or not it will happen. The Saint Master will stir up the wind and clouds, and when the Saint Child's grand ceremony arrives, there will definitely be people who challenge you. Prepare yourself. The next day at Taiso Holy Land, several groups of people were gathered talking. My senior brother, I heard from the second elder of the Tianjian Peak that Soashio will become the Holy Son. I remember that Soashio just broke through the Xinqiao realm not long ago, and there are many disciples in the Holy Land with higher cultivation than him. You have better talent than him. Why choose him to be the Holy Son? They say that So Shihuing is about to become a saint child. So Xiu Shihuing has also been appointed as a saint child. No wonder you're my senior brother, why doesn't this good fortune fall to us? In his cave abode, Xiao Yifeng had shattered several vases. Trash. On what grounds could he become the saint's son? Her long hair cascaded down her back like a waterfall, her hand clenched tight. Anger boiled within her. She was still grappling with the legacy of the Yun Hifeng sect leader, and yet he had vanished, emerging as a holy son. He gritted his teeth. Why is heaven so unfair? Soashio, you wait, I will make you pay. Two girls stood on the high mountain slope. They blushed and bowed to him. Chu Xiu Xixiang, greetings Chu Xiu Xixiang. He looked up at the pavilion, where the girls were also discussing recent events. The fourth sword master of the Endless Sword region brought his 2 disciples to watch the ceremony, declaring his intention to challenge the Holy Son on the sky ladder and make his name known throughout the land. I've heard of these 2, Long Qifeng and Long Xiuyue. They are brother and sister, born from the same womb. Both with sword bodies. Their combined swords can rival any in the younger generation. Not only is there an endless sea of swords, but a young man from the Jiang family with the divine king body has also emerged, seeking to prevent the Holy Son from ascending to the heavenly ladder. In the Tai Di Holy Land, a Dao body has also emerged. The girl in white covered her mouth in astonishment. What? The Tai Di Dao Ti, this invincible constitution, has appeared again. Heavenly prodigies are all emerging. Is the great trend about to come? The man in red sighed. It was uncertain if Suhu, the Holy Son, could withstand these geniuses. No one dared to be sure. It was feared that he might be easily defeated by others at the grand ceremony, tarnishing the dignity of our holy land. Chu Xiu stood with his hands clasped behind his back, a faint smile playing on his lips as he walked away. Truly, just as his older sister had said, the Saint Sun selection ceremony would not be so peaceful. Standing on a high cliff, he contemplated. It seems like I am truly destined to be connected with the endless sword domain. I distinctly remember, 20 years ago, their holy son and holy daughter were also a pair of siblings. My younger brother, Feng Qingyang, was an arrogant fool who thought he was the strongest in the world. He looked at the world with disdain, always half-blind. He scoffed at my humble origins, called me a demon cultivator, and tried to stop me from entering the Huanglu. He was finally slain by me at the edge of West Lake, Central Continent. My elder sister, Feng Dao, is stunningly beautiful. She chased me to the Eastern Continent in order to avenge her younger brother. Before his head was chopped off, the resentment and unwillingness in his eyes made me remember it forever. Afterward, the ones who pursued me most relentlessly were those from the Endless Sword Domain. The siblings from the Endless Sword Domain who came to cause me trouble this time are very likely the current generations Xingzi and Shengv. The system teased, "Host, you're a Xingzi and Shengv assassin." Suo Xiu went to the scripture pavilion. It was surrounded by formations on all sides. This light was the 7-rank peak 5 elements combined great formation, defense, imprisonment, illusion, killing and life. 5 7-rank great formations. If the person trapped inside didn't die, the formation would regenerate endlessly, like a cycle of birth and death. Great saint-level experts charging into this formation will undoubtedly perish. Even Saint Kings trapped inside would have to expend considerable effort to escape unscathed. At this moment, a girl's voice rose, refuting his words. You are wrong. This formation has been passed down from the Emperor Zun. Even a Saint King would be injured upon entering. A beautiful girl with auburn hair and sunset-orange eyes exuded a cold aura. She wore a blue cheongsam that revealed her alluring curves, her feet clad in fan-shaped shoes. He bowed to her. I am Yin Hifeng, chief disciple of Chu Xiu. I don't know you. You said you are Su Jin, the protector of Tsang Jingge. He asked her to open the scripture pavilion for him. Su Jin didn't reply but turned and went inside. Chu Xiu understood and quickly followed. In Taisu Holy Land, beautiful older sisters could be seen everywhere. After a while, the two of them entered the sutra library. Everywhere were scrolls, books, the air thick with the smell of knowledge. He stared intently at the board in front of him. Things to know. Outer disciples can only enter the 1st and 2nd levels. Inner disciples can enter the 1st to 4th levels. Only the Saint Lord and his predecessor can enter the 9th level. Suo who reached the 7th floor of the Tangjing Pavilion. A familiar figure passed by. He saw Yifan talking to the elder. Could this 3rd volume of the King Body Refining Technique be a little cheaper? I really don't have enough contribution points. The elder was a beautiful girl, wearing a white qipao, sitting cross-legged and engrossed in reading. Insufficient contribution points? Go earn some, then come back, she said. Yifan pleaded with her. Elder, can't you give me a little leeway? She firmly refused. Yifan reluctantly left the book. Chu Su walked away, disappointed. Su Xiu approached and greeted him. Brother Yi, so you are here too? Yifan was astonished. He said he liked a physical cultivation technique, but his contribution points weren't enough to borrow it. It was such a shame. Senior brother, do you have extra contribution points? Lend me some. I'll return them to you double in a few days. He skillfully declined. I also need to exchange for ancient texts, contributing just enough. I'm truly sorry. Yifan scratched his head, not asking further. All right. I'll go find other fellow disciples to borrow some. I won't bother you anymore. He silently looked at his awkward expression. Want that physical cultivation technique like that? Could it be that he discovered something good? After Yifan left, Suo Xiu went to the elder. Elder, how many contribution points are needed to access the 3 Kings Body Refining Technique? She was still engrossed in her book. Seeing him ask, I looked up. It was Chu Xiu. That body refining manual requires 50,000 contribution points to exchange. If you want to read it, I can waive the fee, as long as you don't take it out of the Tsang Jingge. He looked embarrassed. Thank you for your kindness, elder, but the Holy Land's rules are not to be broken. Inwardly, he was overjoyed. Do I have such face now? I can actually coast through the Holy Land on reputation alone. She picked up the book on the table. Give it to me. The rule is death, the human is life. Put it away, find a place to look at it. Chu Xiu hurriedly said thanks. Inside the cultivation treasure, Chu Xiu knelt in meditation. The name of this book is Tianping Lian Tifumen. Why is Deep Fam in such a hurry to borrow this book? He flipped through the book, noticing a page thicker than the rest. So, the problem has arrived. If Yifan didn't open this body-refining manual, how could he discover its extraordinariness? Could it be that Yifan possesses golden pupils? Hidden within the pages of the book was a shimmering golden thread. Su Hu was surprised to discover that this was a primordial silkworm. Rumor has it this object is incredibly durable, extremely valuable, and remains incorruptible even after hundreds of thousands of years. It's practically unheard of in this era. It's a pity they are so rare, but the fact that it's recorded on the Tian Kinyuan confirms its extraordinary nature. You're right, this time you've stumbled upon a real treasure. Su Hu focused on learning what was recorded on that primordial celestial silk. Golden characters floated in the air. Accompanying them were a series of images depicting the four movements of martial arts. Rare and powerful techniques. Now he had grasped the true meaning of the human emperor fist, using that breakthrough point to achieve a cultivation breakthrough. The human emperor's authority belongs to the law type, with a 5-star destructive power. Introduction. A supreme powerful being, the mark of the emperor's wrath, is left behind at the Tian Tam Yuan Ti, waiting for a destined person to obtain it. Note, this power requires extremely high physical demands. When mastered, a single punch unleashes the immense emperor's might, capable of shattering all laws. Chu Su exclaimed. This fist technique is truly powerful, capable of shattering 10,000 methods with a single punch. Once my cultivation is sufficient, and I fuse it with the Wanshi Jieshio sword art, I will be truly invincible. Looking at the piece of heavenly silkworm primal essence in his hand, a thought immediately illuminated his mind. He remembered that Yifan and Jian Lingyun were extremely close. Why not take this opportunity to offer them a grand gift? He changed the contents within the Tian Kinyuan Ti fragment. This place is extremely dangerous. It's best not to go alone. Then put it back where it belongs. Yifan has great fortune, not easily killed, but Jian Lingyun, it's uncertain. Done, Suho went to the cave abode of Qimingdia. Today, he was feeling good and decided to ask his master for some instruction. Looking out the window, he heard her yelling at him. She stabbed him repeatedly with a lotus needle, cursing him relentlessly. He sighed. This crazy woman, she really enjoys being beaten up. So He Den opened the door and stepped in. She looked up in shock. How could this naughty boy be here at this time? He leaned close to her and asked. Shirzwin, what were you doing just now? She blushed and didn't answer. Shouldn't one prepare the bed to welcome their direct disciple? At the same time, inside the cultivation room, Yifan opened the book. Truly, there were hidden treasures inside. Above is the note that Suahu has edited. He stroked his chin as he read the contents. Best not to go alone. The next day, inside the 10,000 Great Mountains, Jianling, Fengyun, and Yifan arrived together. Yifan exclaimed excitedly, They're here, the treasure is right here. Before them was a deep, dark pit, looking quite dangerous. Yifan sneered and silently calculated. He had just broken through to the Bayan realm, although not yet enough. With the help of his powerful senior brother, Lang Yun, he could definitely get the treasure smoothly. Moreover, Lang Yun would be grateful to him for sharing the treasure, and he could be considered as having sold him a favor. Jian Yun patted Yifan's shoulder affectionately. He promised to keep the secret and remember his sentiment. He secretly reveled in the thought. So what if Chu Xiu was about to become a saint? Just wait. Once I obtain the hidden treasure and increase my cultivation again, I'll crush him beneath my feet. Two figures walked into the cave. The atmosphere was eerily oppressive. Above them, a colony of bats with glowing red eyes stared intently at their target. Yifan seemed a little worried. Lingyun, why do I feel like something's not right here? Jian Lingyun asked him, Are you sure there's treasure here? Could it be a case of seeking fortune in danger? The black hole remained silent for a long moment. Then came a bloody scene with a series of earth-shattering screams. A mutilated hand reached out tremblingly. Yifan crawled out in panic, his gaunt face filled with terror. His hair was disheveled, his clothes tattered, and his body covered in wounds. Good heavens, this wasn't a cultivation sanctuary at all, it was a death trap. Luckily, I have a high-grade spatial talisman. Otherwise, I would be dead for sure. Lang Yun, goodbye. I am so sorry I can't save you. The silk fragment fell to the ground. Yifan repeatedly stomped on it to vent his anger. Damn thing, go to hell. This news also reached Yunhe Peak. What, Jianlingyun is dead? 3 Yunhe Peak disciples, Honging reported to Xiaoyifeng. I heard Yifan and Tianjian Peak's direct disciple went treasure hunting and died in a great formation. Xiaoyifeng sighed, speechless. The anti-Chu Xiao alliance had lost a great general. Honging asked with concern. Shi Xiang, I noticed you haven't been feeling well lately. Perhaps we should consult Shizun. Maybe he can help you. Xiaoyifeng yelled, saying, Who's not feeling well? I'm fine. Suo Xiao happened to appear behind them. He greeted them. Junior brother, junior sister, what are you discussing? Xiaoyifeng roared again. The people preparing for the Saint Sun grand ceremony are not the same. Suo senior brother, you are truly in high spirits. I have good news for you, Jianlingyun is dead. Su Hu sighed with sorrow. How could we be happy about this news? Jianlingyun, our fellow disciple from the sacred land, is in trouble. We should be grieving, not rejoicing. Xiaoyifeng scoffed. You're a liar. The chicken beside him chimed in. That little brat, your junior brother, might not be suffering from kidney deficiency. No wonder I felt he was like a woman from the start. Xiaoyifeng was furious. Where did this chicken come from, daring to crow in front of me? He flicked out a silver needle. Aimed for the chicken. Suo Hu threw the needle back to its owner. The needle stuck firmly into the stone wall beside him. The wall's surface slightly cracked. Xiaoyifeng glanced over nervously. He had intended to humiliate Chu Xiao by easily defeating him, but unexpectedly, Chu Xiao had managed to withstand the needle attack. When did this waste become so powerful? Could it be that he cultivated some sort of unique skill? Suo Hu's face darkened, and he said coldly. Second junior brother, you killed my spirit beast in front of me. Do you think I am easy to bully? The chicken on his shoulder also folded its arms and looked at him proudly. Xiaoyifeng was frightened and shouted, pointing his finger. What? Chu Xiao, you want to attack me now? Honging hurriedly intervened. Eldest senior brother, don't misunderstand, didn't you want to participate in the Holy Sun ceremony today? Don't miss the time. Xiaoyifeng pretended to be very generous. Forget it, I am a big shot, I won't be petty with a small fry. Why would I make things difficult for a chicken? At this very moment, he heard the voice transmission of Qi Mengdai. You rebellious son! I will meet you at my cave abode. So Xiao Dan bowed his head and clasped his hands in greeting. Brother, sister, master, forgive me for not being able to accompany you. A while later, Su Hu arrived. He bowed respectfully and asked her what she wanted. She took out a set of golden armor and handed it to him. Put it on when you ascend the heavenly ladder later. So Xiao reached out to take it. Master, are you worried about your disciple? She turned away. Stop overthinking. I only worry that your death would disgrace me. He didn't know when, but his hand had already reached out, grasping her waist. His other hand caressed her smooth thigh. Thank you, master, for your gift, he said with exaggerated gratitude. This disciple will surely repay you. She blushed and looked at him. What do you want to do again? Qi Mengdai stepped down from the throne. All right, stop talking nonsense. We're going to the Holy Sun's ascension ceremony, so come with me. So Xiao had no choice but to follow. The golden chicken wondered why his master was so angry. She handed him a scroll. Read this first. Suo Hu silently held it in his hand. The inside talks about the top figure on the potential dragon list. Like the Jiang family, the divine king body Mei Zhu. Qi Mengdai explained that they were all prepared to challenge him upon his ascension to the heavens. She could only help him this far. His voice turned saccharine. Master, I know you love me the most. She wore a mask and said to him. What nonsense are you talking about? Get lost. 2 master and disciple went to Taisu Peak, Xingzi Grand Hall. The crowd stirred, their eyes drawn heavenward. Chu Xiao had arrived. They also did not forget to praise Qi Mengdai. Yunhe Fengzhu is indeed as beautiful as rumored, truly a heavenly fragrant beauty. The 2 masters of the Jiang family were chatting with each other. Jiang Jia, the grand saint ancestor, introduced the person as Suo Xiao, the opponent Jiang Zhou wanted to challenge today. He said he was sure of victory. People from the Tai Holy Land also looked towards them. Elder Zhou stroked his long beard. I see this person has the appearance of someone who will die young. I don't know why he is still alive. His disciple, Dao Zi, standing next to him, said, Today is the great ceremony of the Holy Son of the Taisu Holy Land. Shu, you just opened your mouth and said that their Holy Son has the appearance of someone who will die young. Aren't you afraid that their Shizun will beat you to death? The man wielding the boundless sword had the same flaming hair. The 4th sword master exclaimed, How similar! Although his appearance has changed a bit, His demeanor resembles that of Chu Lama by 50%. Long Qifeng proudly declared, "Master, rest assured, even if he truly is Chu Lama, I will slay him today." The other children looked up excitedly. "Grandpa, today I'm going to climb the heavenly ladder." The old man smiled kindly. "How neat, this little guy is just like his father when he was young, just with a little more spirit." Tianjin Peak's Peak Lord Tianxing stood on the platform and announced loudly, "The time has come, the Holy Sun ceremony commences. The Holy Sun will cross the heart-asking bridge and ascend the heavenly ladder." Tai Su Zi, representing the sect, opened the barrier. A red silk ribbon flowed out from her hand. It slowly moved. Through the endless mountains. Through the endless deep forest. A celestial ladder unfolds, finally stopping at the soul-seeking pavilion. With a serene heart, a clear conscience, an unwavering Tao heart, Chu Xiu stepped onto the crimson silk ribbon. If the Xingzi harbors any ill will toward the Xingdi, he will immediately fall from the bridge. He slowly moved one step at a time. His face was confident, his expression unwavering. If a saint's Tao heart were unstable, seduced by the mortal world, he would be unable to take even a single step. The thin, translucent red silk ribbon tied around the Van Tom Keo bridge appeared deceptively dangerous. Occasionally, a flock of cranes would fly past, as if to further challenge those who dared to cross. He closed his eyes, savoring each sensation. Examining his hard bridge, testing his shinching. If his shinching wavered, even half a step would be difficult. He remembered the past, running away with Lu Hongwei. "So Hugh, run! They're coming to capture you." A ferocious mob wielding torches chased after them. She gripped his hand tightly, and together they traversed the dense forest. Exhausted, he stopped to rest beneath a tree. At that moment he vowed, "I will become stronger than anyone. I will not let us be bullied or humiliated again." Her slender, beautiful hand touched his face. Gently lifting his face, she softly said, "I will go with you." That image, those words, he would never forget for the rest of his life. It was her again, but her attitude and tone were different. "Sahu, what's wrong with you? Your heart is becoming more and more wicked, more and more cold." She firmly refused his offer. "Why should I go? I don't want to go to any Hongqing Jianzman. At worst, we die together." The crowd watched Chu Xiu stand motionless on the Wenxin Bridge for a long time, then began to jeer. Why wasn't he moving? Could it be that he couldn't even cross the Wenxin Bridge? Qi Mengdai was also worried. Why was it so slow? Could it be that he... On this side, Suho was still lost in his memories. Liu Hongyi clung to his shoulder and said, "You must come and pick me up. I will wait for you." Even he hadn't expected that this farewell would last 50 years. Chu Xiu moved. But they were shocked to discover, his speed was wrong. How strong was his Tao heart, that he could walk so quickly on the Wenxin Qiao. His whole body emitted a golden light, moving fast like a gust of wind. How tough was his Tao heart, what in the world was it, that allowed him to stand on the Wenxin Qiao for half a moment without moving? Qi Mengdai watched silently. With his rebellious nature, it was only natural that he wouldn't be bound by worldly constraints. His first step as a rebellious son would certainly have brought to mind Qishan County and the parents he had lost to the demon race. Dao Yu cheered from the side. "Big senior brother, go for it." Qi Mengdai raised her eyebrows and asked, "Dao Yao, do you like Sahu?" Tao Yao froze for a moment. Afterward, her face flushed as she admitted, "Yes, master, I want to marry senior brother." Qi Mengdai stared in disbelief. She firmly stated her disapproval of the marriage. Tao Yao was left saddened and confused. "I am not married, senior brother is not married, on what basis does master disagree?" Qi Mengdai still refused. "No means no. You must obey master." She silently used her voice transmission to speak to Dao Yao. "Your senior brother is not a good person." Tao Yao recalled the image of Chu Xiu with a sinister face. She gritted her teeth in annoyance. "So, this was the kind of person Shizun was. Because you tried to stop my marriage to my senior brother, and you weren't afraid to slander his character. Master, you are too much." Dao Yao's words pierced Qi Mengdai's heart, making her want to vomit blood. She frowned, questioning him. "Don't you trust the master?" Dao Yao crossed her arms, annoyed. "Fine, I believe you, but you're still a little less than your senior brother." Qi Mengge's voice softened. "You and your senior brother are both rebellious disciples. I'm still angry in my heart. Why doesn't anyone believe me when I tell the truth? What in the world is wrong with this world?" Tao Yao defended Chu Xiu. "Perhaps you misunderstood senior brother. Every elder, deacon, and disciple in the Holy Land says senior brother is a good person. Senior brother is kind and treats everyone equally, even outer disciples, with fairness. Speaking of senior brother, Everyone in the Holy Land gives him a thumbs up. Who doesn't praise his greatness? Chi Mengdai still maintains her opinion of him. Don't believe it, it's all an act. His true heart is very malicious. Dao Yu, don't even think about arguing with this venerable one. No matter how much you plead for him, you are not allowed to become his Taoist companion. I do not consent to your marriage. Dao Yu couldn't take it anymore. She stood up and shouted. Master, you're the lord of the Yunhe Peak. How can you do something that would break up a couple? The announcement caught everyone's attention. The Saint's son had passed the Soul Trial Bridge. Yet, in less than half an hour, Suo Shio had already surpassed it. Senior brother, you have broken the records of all generations, haven't you? Tian Xing, standing next to her, complimented. Meng Dai, the junior sister, is not bad. Her Dao heart is firm as a rock. She wondered how he had been raised. The thought startled her. He was both angry and ashamed. He had only meant to give a little guidance, mainly to test his disciples' comprehension. Each word he uttered carried a deeper meaning that only the two of them could understand. Next comes the main issue. Suo Shio must ascend to the heavens. He calmly faced the arduous trial ahead. The heavenly executor's voice boomed, Challenger to the Saint's son, ascend the heavenly stairway. Take the stage. Everyone rushed over. Shizuen, let's go. Shu, if I fail, please don't blame me. Go now, regardless of victory or defeat. It's up to Brother Tang then. Brother Tang is a martial arts master. A young man, his striking appearance drawing attention from the ladies. He is so dashing, do you know who he is? It's Shangguan Hao, the future son-in-law of the Ji family. This is a plan to step on Taisu's face, to win the favor of the Ji family. The cultivators had all gathered. Chu Xiu turned his head and looked at them, a smirk playing on his lips. It seems quite a few people want to challenge me. These two must be siblings from the long family of the Endless Sword domain. This person must be the legendary divine King Jiangzhou. He seems quiet and reserved, how boring. Jiang Dozi, with the most amiable attitude, was the first to speak. Brother Su, you've had too many offenses. In truth, I'm just here to join in the fun, you don't need to mind. This man is not bad, quite polite. Later, perhaps I could go easy on him a little. Shangguan Xia proudly waved his hand at him. Holy Son Dianxia. Suo Shio looked at him indifferently. This guy was a tough nut to crack, not to be underestimated. A man in red was already on the move. Long Qingfeng, brimming with excitement, started walking. I can't wait any longer. His younger sister hurried after him. Brother, wait for me. On the endless expanse of the heavens, each used their own way to overcome the first obstacle. The endless sword power brothers flew together with their swords. Dao Zi used a compass to create a ribbon of scriptures to move, while Jiang Zhou directly used his bare hands to climb. Suho looked up. Indeed, these divine powers are not to be underestimated. Shangguan Hao, standing beside him, urged. Saint Son, Your Highness, I apologize, I'm in a hurry. Let's finish this quickly. I'll give you a few moves. Suo Shio didn't argue with him and agreed. All right, we'll finish as soon as possible. The crowd below roared in protest. After the Shangguan family climbed to the top of the rankings, they became arrogant, didn't they? If Suo Shio at the first level had been defeated by Shangguan Hao, didn't that mean everyone at the Taisu Holy Land was slapped in the face? This guy dared to despise the Saint Son on our territory, kill him. Shangguan Hao's entire body was purple, even his fan. His eyes twinkled with cunning, and he sneered confidently. My weapon is a fan, Your Highness. Draw your weapon! Chu Xiu also grinned. His face darkened, his emotions unreadable. In a flash, he gathered his strength and quickly moved toward Shangguan Hao. The people below the stage exclaimed in astonishment. Holy moly, Suo Shio, you're so fast! He coldly gripped his neck. You want to step on me? You even want to teach me a few tricks? You dare to act righteous in front of me? Shangguan Hao's face turned pale, sweat dripping down his face. The fan in his hand was crushed. He trembled. Don't hit my face. Who would listen to him? Chu Xiu punched Shangguan Hao directly in the face. Shangguan Hao's face swelled up, and his entire body flew backward. The disciples' eyes widened in delight at the sight. Meanwhile, Crown Prince Su stood on the platform, chanting an incantation. Her target was Shangguan Hao. He was horrified to find himself bound by something. He frantically called for his grandfather to save him. She said coldly, Take this. Shangguan Hao was knocked off the arena. His grandfather rushed over. My son, my Hao. Tai Su Zi's voice resounded clearly. The majesty of Tai Su cannot be humiliated. Those who offend Tai Su must be expelled. Those who offend Tai Su will be banished. The two old men sitting on the stage took the opportunity to mock each other. Shangguan Konghong sneered. Ji Changsho, your Ji family really knows how to choose their in-laws, daring to attack the holy son of the great Tian sect. You have more guts than the heavens. The person sitting beside him was Ji Changsho, the elder of the Ji family. Don't add fuel to the fire here. This matter has nothing to do with our Ji family. After finishing, Tai Suzi announced with crossed arms, Xingzi ascends to the heavens, continue. Chu Xiu advanced cheerfully. The Shangguan family all wanted to ride roughshod over her, and she was venting some anger on behalf of Xingzhu Jiejie. It was just unexpected that the pale-faced Shangguan Hao couldn't even withstand a single blow. Waiting for Chu Xiu was the Wujin Jianli siblings. The drama was about to begin. The twin sword body wanted to challenge the Taisu Holy Son. These two are different from the Shangguan brat from earlier. They are the top of the Qianlong leaderboard. I wonder if the Taisu Saint Son can defeat these twin sword siblings. The exciting match has arrived. The three people faced each other. Su Xiu spoke first. Qing Feng Shuiyu, what a beautiful name. But you two have not even reached the Taisu Holy Land yet, and you already want to kill me. I really don't know when I offended you too. Long Qingfeng sneered. Does killing someone need a reason? Blame your parents for giving you the same name as old demon Chu. Chu Xiu was speechless. Your justifications for murder are truly powerful. What era is this, still playing these literary judgment games? Two brothers, each wielding a sword, held them vertically before them. One sword glowed green, the other gold, as they channeled their spiritual power, preparing to strike. Words are useless. Watch how we cut you down. The immense spiritual power of the two brothers erupted, overwhelming everyone. Is this the legend? One red, one gold. The surrounding earth and rocks, affected by the impact, flew chaotically in all directions. Finally, the heavenly slaughter sword intent prevailed, cleaving straight down towards the earth. The ground instantly cracked apart, shattering into numerous pieces. Dust billowed up into the air. Long Qingfeng quickly leaped backward to avoid the attack. He clutched his chest, refusing to yield. So Xiu. Again, I will surely make you die under the swords of my brothers and sisters. Long Xiuyue stepped forward. He calmly looked at her. Young lady, your sword radiates an impressive aura. You told Chu Xiu to save his breath. The sword hilt slammed into Long Xiuyue's abdomen. He shoved her away. Blood gushed from her mouth. Long Qingfeng quickly caught her. Little sister, drink this medicine first. It can stop the bleeding very quickly. Suo, who still hadn't finished his attack, he moved forward with his sword in hand. Was there still time to take his wound-healing medicine? With no other options, the twin brothers decided to join forces. Their powers combined. The sky immediately turned gloomy. A giant wave appeared behind them. Prepare to die. Ancient characters appeared in the sky, followed by hundreds, thousands of swords descending. The swords carried immense power and pressure. So Xiu stood still, watching them. Dao Zi looked down from above. The twin holy sword manifestations, Qing Lan's sword song. The crowd of disciples watching the platform stood up. This pair of siblings used a phenomenon manifestation. With this phenomenon out, who can contend? Chu Xiu is about to lose. The ancient script dissolved into a shimmering swirl of red and green, illuminating like a galaxy. The Tao Man sword song was born. His smile broadened with amusement. Trying to suppress me with a strange phenomenon? You won't die in vain. My desolate ancient saintly physique specializes in subduing such phenomena. The little fox, not to be outdone, unleashed his own attack. A gigantic purple lotus blossom bloomed in the air. It was the chaotic lotus seed. As he chanted the incantation, his smile was full of confidence. The green lotus bloomed, and all things withered. A loud purple explosion erupted, its immense force pushing everything back. Unable to withstand the strong wind, the twin brothers were both blown away. Everyone's jaws dropped in astonishment. So, Saw who actually suppressed Qinglan Jiange? Hong Ying pointed ahead in amazement. What is that? He appeared majestically with his purple lotus. Golden blood qi, a chaotic phenomenon of the primordial purple lotus. The fourth sword master speculated. Could it be that So Xiu is the legendary ancient holy body? How could this be possible? How can this type of physique even cultivate? Chu Xiu's power completely suppressed the twins. The surrounding purple aura made it difficult to breathe. Long Qifeng and Long Xiuyue struggled to evade the purple sword light. He took out a leather drum. Turning to his injured sister, he said, Go! My Yang Bai Digu can hold him off for a while. Dai Xiuyue clenched her fist, making up her mind. I'm not going, Saw who said coldly. Leave? Not a single one of you can leave. His hands clenched, he flew towards the brothers. Long Qifeng isn't easy to deal with, so let's take care of Long Shiyue first. Long Qifeng looked back in terror. No! Sister, run away! Suo, whose eyes were terrifying, his fist struck out without any mercy. The Emperor's fist, a fist that could break all laws, was unleashed with full force. Long Shiyue was struck, spewing blood as she flew backward. Long Cheng's eyes reddened. He roared, calling for his younger sister. Suo Shio, they'll fight you to the death. But before he could do anything, Chu Shio kicked him in the stomach. His eyes were white, and fresh blood poured from his mouth. A booming sound shook the sky, marking the end of the battle. So Shio stood there, his stance commanding. The disciples cheered with excitement. Suo, who was truly powerful. The twin sword's body was incredibly strong. Against our holy son, wasn't he just blown up? Yifan was also astonished. Senior brother Chu Shio's punch was truly powerful. But why did his chest feel tight, as if he had lost something important? The fourth sword master, enraged, strode toward Qimengdai. You're quite a one, leaving your disciples to run wild like this. She crossed her arms and looked at him. Naturally, I'm very good. Your disciples always say they want to kill Suvu, so what? Suvu only crippled their cultivation, why aren't you happy? Tao Yao also interjected. That's right, your endless sword domain is so overbearing? Bullying my Taisu as if we have no one? Chu Xiaoran mediated. Fourth sword master, your two disciples have extraordinary talent. Their cultivation being crippled is not the end. With dedicated practice, they can recover at least half their former strength. The fourth sword master was speechless. You, Qimengdai said to him, Fourth sword master, if there's nothing else, then please return to your seat and continue watching. He angrily left. Chu Xiaoran cheerfully said to Tao Yao, My senior brother is truly amazing. I like strong men. Dao Yu said immediately, her voice rising. Get lost, stop having ideas about my senior brother. So Qiaoren didn't back down. A man like your senior brother Soshio, who is both strong and outstanding, is destined to have many women. She stroked her chin, her eyes seductive, a playful smile on her lips, saying, For example, me? Qimengdai felt a pang of discomfort in her heart. When did this rebellious child become so admired? Dao Yu, enraged, raised her hand to challenge Sukioshinren. What did you say? You want to die? Qimengdai reminded her not to be rude. Tao Ni withdrew her hand, looking over with an aggrieved expression. Qimengdai cursed Chu Shio hundreds of times in her heart. Her feet relentlessly stomped on a puppet shaped like him. This rebellious disciple, flirting with every woman, still wants this master to help him resolve his troubles. Damn it! Chu Shio wrinkled his nose in displeasure on the celestial plane. This itching, who dares curse me? Disregarding that, he stroked his chin and pondered, who would be the next to challenge him? The system was gleefully malevolent. The host was an old demon, so let him drain the blood of a god king. Otherwise, why don't we kill that fool from the Jiang family first? Fool? He's a divine king body. Chu Shio looked up at the heavens. It all depends on whether he is willing to fight me. Seemingly sensing his gaze, Jiang Zhou anxiously looked down. He brushed his hand, sighing. This person is too dangerous. We have no chance of winning, and cannot engage him. Suo, who saw that Jiang Zhou wasn't very eager to fight him. With so many people watching from below, he couldn't be the one to start a fight. His eyes instantly shifted to a different target. Chosen, Daozi clasped his hands and bowed, pleading. Suo Xiong, I am no match for you. Please spare me. He smiled gently. Chui misunderstood. This person is very impolite, always fighting and killing. Respecting peace is my true nature. Yizi smiled bitterly. Brother Su is a neutral person, Chu understands. According to your observation, among the five, Chu Di is the strongest at first glance, followed by the Jiang family's divine king physique. Both are not easy to deal with, it's better if they don't fight us. The most important thing is to ascend to the heavenly stairway smoothly. On the observation platform, Tai Suzy gasped in astonishment. A guest has arrived to see the saint son of the Great Hall. Standing before her was a monkey that looked and was armed exactly like Sun Wukong. Golden head, a strong hairy body, and the golden cudgel carried on its shoulder was also gold. Jin Yuan, why did you come uninvited? Jin Yuan grinned. Tai Suzy, you are still as sharp as ever. Her tone was threatening. As a demon lord from the demon realm, you dare to come alone to the human realm. Aren't you afraid of never returning? Jian Yuan pointed his finger with arrogance. I am not afraid, of course. Tai Suzy, you've launched such a large-scale war and organized this holy death grand ceremony. I don't believe you have no ulterior motives. Her face didn't change at all, even when he hit the nail on the head. So what? she said. What does it have to do with you demon beasts? Jin Yuan's 2 eyes flashed, and he sneered, revealing his sharp teeth. We're not afraid to gamble. I'll let my junior ascend the heavenly ladder, and if he defeats the Saint Son, you must tell me your true purpose. On the other hand, the conditions are up to you. What do you say? She didn't refuse, complying with his request. Bodhi divine flowers, holy Buddha divine fruits, plus a random assortment of heavenly treasures. Listening on one side, Chimeng Dai realized these formations were all things Xiao needed. Jin Yuan said with a bright smile. You have a big appetite. Let's go, Denvi. After you defeat the Holy Son of the Taisu, I'll feast you on the flesh of the wild great saint for 3 days and 3 nights. Yi Di Nu, the princess of the Thousand Demon Realm, was a young woman clad entirely in crimson, even her wings. She accepted Jin Yuan's proposal and prepared for battle. The golden pellet chuckled with delight. Looking up at the heavenly ladder, Chu Xiu massaged his aching arms. Over 3,000 steps had already put a strain on his body. If one were to cultivate to the 9,999th level and then utilize the system to break through to the primordial saint physique, what would happen? The benevolent system cautioned, I advised the host not to take such a risk, it could be fatal. He heeded its warning. Just then, Deep Di Nu appeared behind him, wielding a giant hammer. She hoisted the hammer onto her shoulder and roared, Who is Taisu Xingzi? Dao Zi pointed at Chu Xiong, it seems they are looking for you. Looking at her alluring photo, Dao Zi's thoughts turned dark. You won't do anything to her, will you? Just thinking about that hazy scene made his nose bleed. Chu Xiu frowned and glanced over. Seeing him flying straight up with a sword in hand, ready to attack, Dao Zi quickly advised. So Huin, don't harm the innocent. The Deep Di Empress, her body enveloped in a deathly aura, swung her hammer, declaring, Taisu Saint Son, I will defeat you. After I do, I will go home and eat meat. So Xiu Kong, no less formidable, prepared to leap into the fray. The moment her dancing staff struck the ground, he dodged. A face of horror, such a strong body? I know who she is. She's the Deep Di Emperor of the Tian Yao Abyss. They say her father was a man race grand ancestor, and her mother was a Deep Zun of the Yao race. This woman's face carries the madness of battle, and she seems to fear no opponent. Powerful kicks landed from long, toned legs. Born extraordinary, she possessed the heavenly demon savage god physique, granting her immense strength, an invincible body, and a seeming imperviousness to pain in battle. She was a supreme figure among the younger generation of the demon race. Just as he was about to be struck, his hand caught her foot. A surge of force, potent as lightning, through her back. Yi Di Nu's face lit up with even more excitement. Huanggu Xingti truly lives up to its reputation. She created a series of illusory figures, all identical copies of Yi Di Nu as she first appeared. Sa Xiu remained unmoved. Trying to trap me with illusions? Little sister, you're still too naive. He discovered the true culprit. The main target was the vast mountain range ahead. Now's the time to bury your face in it. Yi Di Nu fumed, her eyes flashing. This weakling dared to take advantage of me. Su Xiu raised his hands in a gesture of innocence. Sorry, I was going too fast. I couldn't stop. But she slapped me, causing me to cough up blood. I didn't do it on purpose. He collapsed beneath her. Looking brazenly at Yi Di Nu's lower body, blood flowed from his nose, his stuttering voice unclear. She was so ashamed that she was even more angry. She swung her hammer down, telling him to shut up. Suahu rolled to the side to avoid it. Yi Dianvi swung her hammer down onto the ground, repeatedly, cursing, Die! Su Xiu kept rolling away, dodging her attacks over and over. The disciples below the stage were worried. Was Senior Brother Chu about to die at the hands of this demonic woman? Truly, one should never offend a woman. Their resentment knows no bounds. The girls looked at him with worry, their senior brother. Chimeng Dai, on the other hand, couldn't help but think about how Empress Dai had imprisoned Su Xiu, turning him into a weak, timid man. At this moment, Deep Di Nu shouted, her voice filled with seductive desire. The girls blushed. Pervert. Senior Brother Su Xiu is so strong. Chimeng Dai rolled her eyes. This rascal. Chu Xiu relentlessly pummeled Dai Di Nu. She continued to utter sounds that made people blush. Woman, I've endured you long enough. I didn't attack earlier, simply because I wanted to give you a chance. But you've pushed things too far. She put her hand in her mouth and let out a long, trembling scream. The attack ended, and she finally fell. Still panting, her face flushed, she was lost in a daze. The men present were astonished. Was Dai Di Nu all right? The stamina of a celestial demon godly body was so great, Yet it was completely depleted by the desolate ancient saint physique. She pointed at Suahu with delight. "You're so strong, man! I, the Empress, have decided. I will make you my Empress. Come back to the Tian Yaoyu with me." Hearing this, he frowned, his mouth gaping in astonishment. The girls were very annoyed. This demoness had quite the nerve. She actually dared to ask the saint's son to return with her to the demon realm. Mangdai didn't say a word, but the murderous aura surrounding her and her deathly glare were proof enough. This evildoer's romantic life is flourishing. Damn it! Watch how this venerable one deals with him. The air on the platform was still filled with romance. The Empress deep confessed her heart. "Come back to the heavenly demon abyss with me. I will treat you well." She walked over and took his hand. "I've already thought of names for our children." So Hugh was scared and speechless. Daozi cheerfully congratulated him on finding a soulmate. Jiangzhou echoed her sentiment, revealing her to be a kind-hearted girl. But he coldly pushed her hand away. Dai Dinu's eyes looked sad. "This matter is beyond my control. I must continue to ascend the celestial platform." Yi Di, the Empress, spread her wings and flew away. Go to Tai Suzy and kneel down to beg her for marriage. Even the grand ancestor of the Tai clan was taken aback. This female demon, she actually ran to him and asked for his hand in marriage. She glanced indifferently at Jin Yuan. This junior of hers had quite the nerve, wanting to bring back the holy son of Tai Su. Jin Yuan rubbed his head in frustration. Misunderstanding, this junior of mine is seriously injured. She must have lost her mind. I'll take her back right away. It tore open a spatial rift, called Dai Dinu, and quickly returned with her. The Empress, deep, hesitant, tried to hold back, but Jin Yuan coldly dragged her inside. "Wait a moment, I haven't even asked what kind of dowry the Tai Su Saint land requires for the marriage proposal. How could your servant be so disrespectful?" she thought, her face turning red. She struggled, refusing to leave. "They are all colleagues, and I like him." The onlookers couldn't help but laugh at this farce. The bell signaling the start of a new cultivation period rang once more. Tianxing raised a hand and announced, "Saint Sun Chu Xiu ascends to the heavenly emperor realm, breaking the record." Examination passed, commenced the grand ceremony. Looking at the marvel before his eyes, Chu Xiu felt a surge of joy. Refining under the heavenly emperor was even faster than using the system for breakthroughs. He stood still, accepting everyone's praise. Soa Xiu had actually broken the record, even surpassing the previous saint sons. The primordial saint physique truly possessed an invincible physical body. Within the same realm, it was likely no one possessed a stronger divine sense than him. He flew back to his original location on his sword, gathering with the girls. So Tiaran led the praise. "Brother So Xiu, your body is truly strong." Mangdai also coldly praised him, saying, "Not bad," then told him to hurry up to the stage. The Saint Lord was ready, and she would bestow the Saint Child seal upon him. So Xiu agreed and turned to leave. He would go see his master later. She frowned and muttered, "Naughty disciple. What brings you to me again?" On the high platform, the purple sovereign said to him, "Suvu, today you will become a saint's son. I give you two choices. The first path. The Holy Land will provide you with cultivation resources and a great saint guardian. Your future is a smooth, boundless expanse of light. The second path. The Holy Land will not provide resources. Your world will be your own creation, forged through bloody battles and carnage. Your future is unknown, but limitless." The admiring girls said, "Is this even a question?" "Of course, we choose the first path." If I were her, I would also choose the first path. The Taoists beside them scoffed. "That is precisely why you are destined to never become powerhouses." Su Hu cautiously considered. The first path's benefits were obvious, but it would cost him some freedom, and his secrets were too many. Besides, if Adishing followed him all the time, it would be easy to expose him. The second path had less worries, but it would lack some support in cultivation resources. He smiled, several decisions already forming in his mind. The images of the two alluring girls I had conquered appeared in my mind. But these cultivation resources could be retrieved from my master and sister Hua. He spoke with a firm voice. "I choose the second path. I, So Xiu, am not afraid of any challenge. What I want, I will not beg for from others. I will fight for it myself. I will take it with my own sword. My path, no one can stop it. Mountains block it. I will destroy the mountains. Seas block it. I will fill the seas. People block it. I will kill them." Tai Suzy asked, "Are you sure?" Chu Xiu confirmed with her. She bowed slightly, offering the items. A golden seal and a black command token. Except the Holy Sun's seal, the Holy Sun's command token. The deal was done. The crowd below cheered, Xingzi Dianxia. Xingzi Dianxia is mighty and invincible. Tai Suzi pointed to the sky and declared, the Saint Sun ceremony has concluded. Representatives of the sacred lands, ancient clans, great sects, and other distinguished guests are invited to Taisu Peak to discuss important matters. As she was about to leave, he called her back. Your Highness, please wait. He feigned a few coughs. Your Highness, I, Hua Changlao of Yufeng Dao, am still unmarried. Would your Highness consider bestowing upon me the honor of your hand in marriage? She turned and asked him who he wanted her to bestow Hua Lofei's marriage upon. Chu Xiu blushed and pointed at himself. Taisuzi blushed and asked, do you really like her? Are you sure about her? She continued, what do you like about her? Su Hu counted on his fingers, easily listing out a series of words, gentle, kind, caring, mature, beautiful. Tai Suzi silently watched him. Later she said, this matter cannot be decided by me alone, I have to consider what Hua Zhanglao thinks. If she agrees, I will grant your marriage, it's not impossible. He immediately showed joy, really? The system chuckled, appraising him, host, you are truly a master of feigning innocence. Soa Xiu waved it off, Shu. From now on, when this lord doesn't chuckle, you are not allowed to either. After finishing his business, Chu Xiu went to Qimingdia's cave. The two sat intimately on the throne. She asked him what he had said to the Holy Lord earlier. He smiled, stroking her smooth shoulder. He said nothing. Just asked a few questions about her cultivation. Why did she smell even better than before? Qimingdia's tone was tinged with a hint of pique. Is there something wrong with your cultivation? You should ask me, why bother the Holy Master? His hand reached for her thigh, explaining. Didn't I come here? His hands began to move. Shurzuan, I apologize. Her voice sharpened. You scoundrel. You've barely become the Holy Son and you're already this wicked. Do you even deserve this position? Don't think I don't know what you're thinking. Su Xiu frowned innocently. Master, what are you thinking? This disciple only wanted to ask for guidance on martial arts, how could that be wicked? But a second later, he changed his expression and pushed her down onto the bed. Her voice was as playful as ever. Master, why don't you tell me what you think I'm thinking? Her hand, smooth as silk, slipped inside his thigh. Her face flushed crimson. I don't know, she said. Just get out of here. Chu Xiu moved closer. Could you bear to let your disciple leave now? Qimingdai covered her mouth with her hand. Tried to suppress the impure moans threatening to escape. In Chu Xiu's cave dwelling, Chu Xiaoran and Tao Yao sat together. Chu Xiaoran saw the proud golden rooster standing on the cliff crowing. Woman, this great one sees that your constitution is extraordinary, and has decided to take you as a human pet. She was speechless in astonishment. Tao Yao beside her laughed loudly. Your chicken has not only become more handsome but also speaks very pleasantly. She approached kindly and said to it, Little chicken, my sister supports you, take her as your concubine. The golden chicken pecked its beak and nodded. Woman, tell me, do you have feelings for Suahu? If you do, ahem. I can help you. Chu Xiaoyan hesitated. This isn't very good. The golden rooster became even more arrogant. What's not good about this? As it finished speaking, Chu Xiu arrived. Tao Yao immediately flew into a rage, gripping Chu Xiaoyan's shoulders tightly. Don't you dare go too far. How dare you harbor such wicked thoughts towards my senior brother? Two girls were tearing at each other's hair. So Xiu, my fellow disciple, is not yours alone. Why should you tell me what to do? Exclaimed one of the girls. The other girl, known as Gao Huang, chimed in with a malicious grin. Yes, rip her hair out, pinch her face, and pick her nose. The girl named Dao Yu replied. I'm doing exactly that. So Xiu stood behind him and punched him. The two girls stopped fighting. Brother, when did you arrive? Asked So Xiu. Chu Xiaoran pretended to cry, looking pitiful. Tao Yao Shiji, I apologize. Tao Yao, furious, clenched her fists but couldn't do anything. So Xiaoran cried and leaned close to her brother, complaining. So Xiu, big brother, it's my fault, don't blame Dao Yao. I came to congratulate you on your ascension to Saint Child, but Dao Yao just arrived and started scolding me. She really does love you. Dao Yao wrong shouted beside her. So Xiaoran, you are truly shameless. A scream, a rage, a chase, a capture. The two of them were locked in a new battle. So Tianan kept muttering. Dao Yao Shiji said it right. It's all my fault for upsetting you, Shiji. If you're not comfortable with it, I can leave. Dao Yao snorted and declared. I will kill you. Suahu chuckled helplessly. So Xiaoran, this girl, how could she be so green tea? It was quite interesting. The next morning, in the grand and majestic atmosphere, Mingdia approached and reported to Tai Suzi. Master, after the grand ceremony at the temple, the matter of Suvu being a Huanggu Shingi has been discovered by the demon race. I fear they might take action. Tai Su's expression remained calm. Recently, over the past millennium, the demonic forces have grown increasingly powerful. This presents both a danger and an opportunity. If we eliminate the great sage-level combatants of the demonic forces now, the Taiji Gu Xing will open sooner. Qi Mengdai was slightly surprised. The ancient star Taiji would open earlier? She couldn't suppress the excitement in her heart. If she could seize this opportunity, it might be a chance to achieve the status of a Saint King. As if understanding her, Tai Suzi turned to say, You must seize this opportunity. She gave Qi Mengdai a green box. This is the Bodhi divine flower that Chu Xiu needs. Please give it to him for me. Qi Mengdai frowned at the object in her hand. Having to meet that rebellious disciple again was truly unfortunate. She returned to her cave dwelling and summoned Suhu. As soon as he arrived, he teased her. It's not even dark yet, Master. Why have you summoned your disciple here? In her heart, she secretly cursed him for being shameless. Trying to suppress her anger, she handed him the object. This is the saint's son's token. Take it and leave. Don't bother this venerable master anymore. Suhu looked innocent. Disciple wouldn't dare to bother you. He stepped forward and grabbed her wrist. Shirzwen, I'm here now, so why don't we try out the magical techniques from last night? Qi Mengdai angrily scolded him. You brat! Get lost! You can't act so recklessly in broad daylight. Chu Xiu breathed on her. A seductive voice whispered. Night is falling. Close your eyes and dream. He took advantage of the situation and pinned her down, and they spent another passionate night together. Myriad stars shone brilliantly in the night sky. After the cultivation session, Suhu rested his head on his hand and ordered his system to display the control panel. Today I discovered some news. You are the holy son of the Taisu Holy Land, able to shoulder a portion of the Holy Land's fortune. Chu Xiu sat up, lost in thought. Becoming a holy son could actually accumulate fate. Were there such benefits as well? Qi Mengdai suddenly pulled his shoulder and said, You little rascal, it's already dark outside. For the first time, she took the initiative and suggested, Shirzwen, you can stay here tonight. Yet, Suhu stubbornly put on his clothes and declined. No need, my disciple must return to cultivate quickly. Want me to stay? No way something that good exists. Suspicious, definitely strange. Who knows, maybe she'll just smack me to death while I'm sleeping. He waved goodbye at the door. I'm tired today, master, please rest early. Qi Mengdai was so embarrassed that she became angry. This rebellious disciple is so vigilant. Just you wait, sooner or later he'll beat you to death. The next day, white blossoms blanketed the area. Chu Xiu went to the Holy Sun Hall, the green box he received yesterday in hand. His master had entrusted him with the Bodhi divine flower, which could allow him to break through to the nirvana stage. But to break through smoothly, he still needs to absorb a large amount of the Yuan Qi in the world. He might as well go to the Xingzi Dian and see what's going on. The Temple of the Holy Sun is perhaps one of the most spiritually abundant places in the Holy Land. Several young women greeted him. Holy Sun. 4 beautiful girls in pink kippeos bowed gracefully. These are the handmaidens of the Saint Son of the Star Palace? The Tai Su Saint Palace truly is extraordinary, even their saintesses are as lovely as this. I will frequently come here to cultivate in the future. I will trouble you all to watch over me. The girls responded enthusiastically, Yes, Your Highness. Your Highness cultivate, leave the rest to us. Farewell beauties. Chu Xiu arrived at a lotus pond filled with blooming flowers. Such a high concentration of spiritual energy? Cultivating here, the speed of leveling up could perhaps increase by several dozen times. We're here. He immediately jumped onto the central platform. Chu Xiu entered a meditative state, absorbing the essence of heaven and earth. He began his breakthrough, striving towards the Bodhi divine blossom. His eyes shone with golden light, his whole body radiating a golden glow. The breakthrough was complete, costing a total of 100,000 breakthrough points. He had 68 breakthrough points remaining. As he finished his breakthrough, a strange carriage appeared in the sky. Princess, this is the legendary Holy Land Saintess. So Xiu looked up, Your Highness? The carriage slowly drifted through the air. Chen Hua Chiu Yu, the 2 maidservants of the princess, peeked out. Taisu Holy Land truly lived up to its reputation. It was incredibly vast, and even more beautiful than the imperial palace. 7th Princess Siyu of the Great Ming Empire also leaned against the doorway, gazing out. Chen Hua Chiu Yu, there's no need for such astonishment. The Taisu Holy Land is the absolute supreme power in our southern domain. Its mountain gate is naturally vast. How could it compare to the imperial palace? Su Xiu sat on the lotus platform, thoughtfully looking up. This young lady looked a bit like Zhu Biyue. Could she be her descendant? A peach blossom drifted into his hand. Su Xiu reached out to catch it. Smiling slyly, I thought. Does Sister Hua still remember me? He immediately boarded his flying ship and went to find her. Hua Luofei stood in the vibrant garden, blooming with colorful flowers. He called her Hua Jiejie. She turned her head gently. Sure Ho said that after receiving your flowers, I came here immediately. She didn't expect him to actually come. Congratulations on your improved cultivation. Su Xiu modestly replied, my little progress is nothing. On the contrary, Sister Hua is becoming more and more beautiful. He clasped her hand warmly. A few days ago, I mentioned the marriage proposal to your sister, and informed the Holy Master. Guess what his response was? Hua Luofei turned away. Of course, the Holy Master wouldn't agree. Because we are not suitable. Chu Xiu's smile widened. She said if you agree, she will grant us permission to marry. She didn't dare look him in the eye. Do you think I'll agree? Su Xiu sighed sadly. It's a pity I have to leave the sacred land to travel, he said. What hai tai, if she doesn't agree, I don't know when I'll see her again. Hua Luofei was quite surprised. You've only just begun to break through to the Binan realm, and you're already going out to train? He casually plucked a flower. He picked it up and examined it. I can't stay in the sacred grounds forever, detached from reality. That would condemn me to never becoming a true powerhouse. Honestly, I'm reluctant to leave. She encouraged him, but venturing out will be beneficial for your growth. Besides, you're decisive and not entangled by romantic affairs. Su Who put the flower in her hair. Who said a ruthless and decisive killer couldn't care about a woman's feelings? His hand clasped her shoulder, drawing her closer. Can you feel it, Hua Luofei? The genuine beat of my heart? Their lips drew close. He gave her a sweet kiss. Hua Luofei blushed and stared at him wide-eyed. Then, she also took the initiative to respond. A moment later, the two finally separated, sweetly calling each other's names. Hua Jiejie, Chu Xiu. She frowned, her hand clenched, her body tense. His face flushed red after his first kiss. Her small hands kept hitting him. He deserved it. Su Xiu dodged and tried to reason with her. Sister, don't get so worked up. I couldn't control myself. Don't be mad at me. She turned away in a huff. Don't do that again, do you understand? He embraced her from behind, coaxing. I understand. Next time I want to kiss you, sister, I'll tell you first. Sister, your angry look is so gentle and moving, how can I not love you? She frowned and scolded lovingly. You treat me like a child, do you think I'm so easily fooled in your heart? Her hand produced a green jade ring. This storage ring, a treasure from the immortal realm, was a prize I won when I defended the Tianyuan city back then. The space inside is quite large, you can use it. It's not very convenient to use a storage bag when you're out traveling. He reached out his hand, suggesting, Sister, can you help me put it on? Hua Luofei didn't refuse. Let me help you put it on, she said. At this moment, Su spoke again. Sister, do you know what it means when a woman gives a ring to a man? Of course she didn't understand. It was just a storage ring, what could it represent? He said it wasn't like that, then pulled her hand and went elsewhere. Two people stopped at a stone platform. She sat down and listened to him explain. Legend has it that at the end of the boundless starry sky, there exists an ancient life star. There, a woman gifting a ring to a man expresses her deep affection and care for him, and her hope of marrying him. She found it strange, wondering if such a peculiar custom truly existed. The Tian Kong continent had no such tradition. He kissed her hand, whispering sweetly, How Gigi, when will you finally agree to my proposal? She scolded him. You like to take advantage of me, don't you? Chu Xiu appeared righteous. Because I like you, sister. You think my master is so beautiful, why shouldn't I take advantage of her? Hua Luofei stated bluntly, if you even take advantage of your own master, then that is truly outrageous. He raised his hand to the heavens and swore. Is it not true? I deeply respect Shizhuan, and have never harbored any ill intentions. She smiled seductively, leaning closer and asking him, So you came here to bully me, didn't you? He said miserably, I wouldn't dare bully Sister Hua. But his hands skillfully gripped her waist. Hua Luofei shyly lowered her face. Not now, you cheeky little brat. It seems I need to distance myself from you a bit. He grabbed her hand, stopping her. Afterward, he straightened up. I'm not a kid, I'm a man. He easily pinned her down. Her face flushed crimson. Her eyes gazed at him dreamily. Just like that, the two sweetly agreed with each other. After they finished, the two lay on the stone mat. Her clothes had been tossed aside, leaving only her undergarments. Right, Jia. A while ago, Xingzhu invited many powers to Taisufeng. What was discussed at the conference? Their hands intertwined. The ancient celestial realm was about to open, and there were natural restrictions imposed from outside the realm. She pointed her finger towards the sky. That ancient star is called Taiji. In the past, people say this ancient star has a big reputation, natural ancient prohibitions, perhaps it opens once every 2,000 or 3,000 years. It contains countless celestial treasures and divine materials, but that is nothing compared to the most precious thing within. It's an ancient celestial inscription left behind by the land itself. So, who listened attentively. A few great saints with extraordinary destiny could even gain a part of the Tao legacy left by the great emperor within, thus breaking through to Saint King and becoming the top powerhouses of the continent. His eyes lit up as he smiled and asked, "Approximately when will it open?" "The Taiji Gu Xing will open in the next year, perhaps in 5 or 6 months, at most 8. They looked at each other. "My Shirzun will also go." She didn't deny it. "The Fengzhu of Yunhe Feng will go." She found the opportunity to become a Xing Wang in the Taiji Gu Xing. Chu Xiu frowned worriedly. "I hope nothing bad happened to my precious Shirzun. If something did happen, where would I go to ask for guidance on cultivation techniques?" He had an idea. Why not seal her away, prevent her from going out? She could stay at home obediently and be a treasure. What need was there for adventures? The image of Qiming died bound and helpless on the bed. Just thinking about it was already exciting. Hua Luofei caressed his face. "Don't worry, the peak master of Yunhe Peak isn't a weak woman. Her combat power is among the top within the same rank. Kid, where do you plan to go to train?" She huddled against him like a little bird. Mentioning this, Sao Xiu said, "I haven't figured it out yet, I'll just take it one step at a time. Wherever I end up is meant to be. I only know that the maid, Lu Hongi, is heading north, but her exact location is still unknown. We'll have to travel and inquire along the way." He sat up, lips curving into a suggestion. "Jia, before we part, won't you express something?" She took the initiative to approach him. "Give him a kiss." The system laughed lewdly, watching this scene. She stroked his lips, reminding him, "If you meet an enemy you can't defeat, running away isn't shameful." Sahu assured her. They spent another sweet night together. The next morning, someone came to visit Sahu's cave abode. "Zhuge Yu, the 7th princess of the great Ming dynasty, pays her respects to your highness, the Holy Son. The one beside her is Mo Fian." Chu Su happily greeted them. "No need for formalities, Elder Mo. What brings you and Princess Zhu Ziyu to my humble abode?" "You guessed right. It is indeed a descendant of Zhu Biyue." Mo Fei Yan said he heard rumors that the Saint's son wanted to go down the mountain for a trip. Coincidentally, the new king of the great Ming Empire had ascended the throne, and the Saint Master wanted the Saint's son and the 7th princess to go to the great Ming Empire to represent the Taisu Holy Land. He sighed inwardly, thinking, "Sister Hua really doesn't want me to be idle. Alright, since I don't know where to go anyway, let's head to Deming and see what happens." Princess Ziyu bowed respectfully. "Your Highness, it is our blessing that you will visit Deming." Now, her mood was quite good. She had originally thought that inviting a junior Saint Elder would be excellent, but who could have imagined that His Highness the Holy Son would actually agree to attend in person? Suah looked at the Princess Ziyu with boredom. 45 years ago, he was still at the Shintong realm. He unexpectedly befriended the crown princess of the great Ming dynasty at the time, Zhu Biyue. The two had a romantic encounter. "I told you I would go find her, but I never expected her to have descendants. Well, if there's nothing else, we'll depart tomorrow." Ziyu bids you farewell. "Good. Today was a bother, we'll meet again tomorrow." At this moment, Qimingge's voice transmission arrived. "Rebellious disciple, come see me at once." Chu Xiu feigned distress and refused. "No way, my back hurts today." Qimingdai, mid-bite into an apple, frowned at this. "How can that be? I've prepared everything." That little brat said he wasn't coming. She put on her mask and went to the storage room to retrieve a small, exquisite box. Qimingdai smiled, gently cradling it in her hands. At Chu Xiu's cave abode, he sat down to cultivate. The golden rooster looked at the flame with boredom. So Xiu was in seclusion far away. Before he left, the little rascal was still cultivating. He was quite diligent, wasn't he? Su Hu entered his state. The reward from the last breakthrough seemed to still be unclaimed. He checked his system records. The system detected that the host is a primal ancient saint body and has broken through to the divine bridge limitless realm. A special reward has been triggered, a half set of the false self secret. He took the reward. This time, with the breakthrough, the system rewarded him with Jia Zi Bai, one of the 9 secrets. Countless golden needles appeared around him, along with the image of an old man with a long beard and hair, seemingly possessing profound skills. Jia Zibai is the most potent healing secret art. When cultivated to a high level, a single drop of blood can restore the physical body. In terms of preciousness, its value is no less than Xing Zibai. Regarding life-saving effectiveness, it's even a step above. The only regret is that the Jia Zibai is only sold in sets. Its effectiveness is no better or worse. Suo Xiu sighed. If he could get the complete Jia Zibai, the sword moves of the third stage could all be created into shapes. He stretched and stood up. The chicken glanced at him and asked, "You're still a virgin, right? The spirit rabbit is already roasted. You want to eat it? You won't be able to eat it after leaving the sacred ground." So Xiu declined. "No need, you can have it all yourself. I'm going to sleep for a bit." A figure stepped in front of the chicken, which was eating happily, just after he left. "Where is that mischievous brat?" That was Chi Mengdai wearing a mask. He arrogantly pointed a chicken leg at her face. "Woman, he was taking a nap, and no one was allowed to disturb him." She ignored it and walked past. Even a chick dared to block her way. Golden Rooster inadvertently saw the beautiful scenery below. Its nose started bleeding from excitement. I collapsed unconscious. Chi Mengdai opened the door and stepped inside. "Is this scoundrel actually asleep?" Chu Xiu, stripped to the waist and wearing only a pair of shorts, lay quietly on the bed. Chi Mengdai looked at him, her lips curving into a smile, her eyes gleaming with a secret plan. In his dream, Suo Yu frowned slightly. He dreamt he was in a vast lake, surrounded by many beautiful and alluring girls, only wearing bath towels, inviting him. "Great Saint, come here quickly!" So Xiu immediately took off his shirt, jumped in and said he was here. The girls approached one by one, their seductive bodies brushing against his. This scene was pure bliss. He grinned from ear to ear. He was having a sweet dream when his ear was pinched. "You little rascal!" Sohu, in pain, cried out in protest. He looked up. Chi Mengdai held the baby in her arms and said, "Our son is born. Are you still bathing here?" Suo wandered awake in a daze. Chi Mengdai sat aside and asked, "Are you awake now?" He was surprised and asked, "Why is master here?" She said calmly, "I am your master, why can't I be here?" She offered him an open box, its contents gleaming. Chu Xiu hadn't yet escaped his dream, instinctively dodging. "What are you doing? Are you trying to poison your husband?" Later, he calmed down and picked up the box. This was 7th grade Long Yangxiang. So, Shirzun came to help him recuperate. She crossed her arms and stood up, saying, "You are going down the mountain for training. I cannot help you much. This is a farewell gift from this venerable one to you." Seeing her about to leave, he stopped her. "Shirzun, please wait." He grabbed her arm. He pulled her close to him. "You little rascal, why are you keeping me here?" Chu Xiuaimei said, "Shirzun gave me a 7th grade Long Yanxiang. Legend has it that in the Huanghai, the saliva of a great sage level Long Jing, after tens of thousands of years of metamorphosis, can condense into Long Yanxiang. This item is quite valuable." Chi Mengdai turned her face away in embarrassment. "So what?" He forced her to turn and face him. A disciple should naturally repay their master for such a precious gift. Afterward, the master and disciple engaged in activities not suitable for children. Southern Domain Tanhuan City is a bustling place. The royal carriage sped along the road. Chu Xiu chatted merrily with the women. "Let me tell you the legend of Cultivator Han. Legend has it that there was a cultivator surnamed Han, whose aptitude was extremely poor. Despite his diligent cultivation, he struggled to achieve enlightenment, until a woman named Nangong appeared and became his master. The story gradually became more wondrous. One day, they were slaying demons together when they were struck by a strange poison, and then they lost themselves in a fit of passion." He coughed, face flushed, and said, "You understand?" The girls blushed. They hadn't expected this. But they were master and disciple. Wouldn't this violate propriety? He was about to answer when he noticed something on his face. Princess Ziyu found it strange. Was someone splashing water outside? Suahu smiled and wiped the water away. Perhaps someone had splashed water in here. Outside, a girl was watching them. This was Chi Mengdai. It seemed she was the one who splashed the water. She frowned in annoyance. This rascal truly was shameless. The horse carriage stopped in front of an inn. The proprietress, a beautiful girl, was holding a pipe in her hand, welcoming them with a smile. "Welcome to Qinxian Inn. Come in and have a drink with me." The proprietress led the group inside. So Xiu turned to ask Princess Ziyue. "I've always been curious about the relationship between Zhubiyue and you." Ziyue was surprised. "You know my aunt?" He said he thought you were her daughter. He had seen her portrait before at an elder's place. You look very much like her now. Is she still alive? Princess Siyu's face was filled with sorrow. A few months ago, she ascended at the Yun Nai Jiding Taoist temple. She had been waiting for someone, waiting for decades. I heard my father say that the person she waited for died a few months ago, and on the same day, she chose to ascend as well. Chu Xiu was stunned. Is that so? What a pity. Qi Mengnai followed the group, standing on the rooftop to observe. Why did the breath of that traitor suddenly disappear when he reached the inn? I've been following a non-realm cultivator, and I've lost him. Losing focus, she stumbled, nearly falling. He glanced up. What was Shizun thinking? Why was he always following him? Thank goodness I have this mask to conceal my breath, or else I wouldn't have been able to shake her off. Suho wore a mask to cover his face and went to a mysterious house. He slowly walked in. Then they arrived in front of a familiar room. I want to know about Lu Hongwei, I said to the girl sitting in front of me. The girl wore a red scarf. Her figure was alluring. She had a beauty mark on the corner of her lips. Opening her mouth, she quoted a price: 200,000 divine artifacts essence stones. Chu Xiu was surprised. 200,000 god-grade primordial stones needed at least 200 million high-grade primordial stones to exchange, he said bluntly. Your Tianji pavilion is just as evil as before, the girl insisted. Our intelligence is absolutely reliable. Do you know how many people are looking for her recently? Chu Xiu offered 300 drops of 10,000-year-old stalactite milk. The 10,000-year-old stalactite milk, originally obtained from the desolate monster beast's secret realm, could finally be put to use. The girl stood up. Hold my hand, he proposed, for 100 drops. The celestial mechanism pavilion won't bargain. Chu Xiu compromised, handing her a bottle. She opened it, cheerfully praising. Not bad. Anything else you need to know? I have some intelligence to sell. Are you interested? She looked intrigued. Tell me about it. The whereabouts of the immortal venerable of the Moonflower Great Emperor. As soon as the words left her mouth, the girl's attitude immediately changed. She asked doubtfully, Really? He confidently affirmed, With your intelligence network, it is easy to verify, right? I need creation genesis fruits and a few world-defying formations for cultivation, at least 4 types. We're all set. We'll exchange the payment and intelligence. Agreed. I'll go gather these extraordinary items. Where will we make the next exchange? He said in Shangjing City. The two of them reached an agreement. Chu Xiu returned to Qinghuan Inn. He sat down on the chair, leaned back against the table, and looked up, asking, Shifu, are you tired standing on the roof? If you are, come inside. Qi Mengdai was about to leave when he suddenly discovered something and stopped dead in his tracks. She turned her head and looked at him. When did this mischievous fellow show up? Go down and question him. How do you know it's me? So Xiu stood up and dusted his clothes. From so far away, I can still smell the unique fragrance on your master's body. He grasped her wrist. He dragged her into the room. Qi Mengdia yelled. You little rascal! Let me go! What are you trying to do? He shrugged off his cloak. As usual, he pinned her down. Qi Mengdai, her eyes red, stared at him. His hand clasped her tightly, his voice teasing. Shizun, you came here because you miss your disciple, right? Of course, she wouldn't admit it. What are you dreaming about? I came to Zhongzhou for work, and just happened to pass by here, and just happened to stay here, and just happened to see you here, so I came in to take a look. His hand touched her collar. That's great, since you're here, trouble you to teach my disciple. Qi Mengnai blushed and kept him there. Show some respect to this master. As she reached her peak, her hand gripped the bedsheet tightly. Panting with excitement, she told him to wait a moment. He paused and asked her, What's wrong? Qi Mengdai frowned, her face flushed, and said, I'm about to break through, the tribulation is coming. Chu Xiu froze. Right on the rooftop of the inn, in his room, a storm was brewing. Saw Ho's face turn serious. The thunder tribulation of a level 4 great saint. The two got out of bed and dressed solemnly. She said she had to cross the spatial river to undergo her tribulation. He took a flask from inside his robe. He shoved it in front of her. The power of the 4th stage of the Legia Great Saint is boundless. If you can't bear it, then drink this. Qi Mengdai was surprised and took it. Is this a 10,000-year stalactite? Well, that rebellious disciple does have some filial piety. She walked towards the spatial vortex. Moving to a different location to undergo the tribulation, Qi Mengdai sat in the center, focusing her mind. Surrounding her were hundreds, thousands of purple heavenly lightning bolts preparing to strike. Her body radiated a brilliant golden light. Her eyes were closed. Her hands were held in the correct position. Her mouth opened, uttering Ice and snow extinguished the three realms sword. Immediately, a turquoise sword appeared in her hand. Countless small snowflakes materialized around her. Qi Mengdai flew straight at the scarred wolf, sword in hand. First technique, Wan Li Bingfeng. There were many puddles of water at her feet. Her feet stopped at one spot, using it as a foothold, then leaped high. Decisively slashed the sword at the wolf's head. Second technique. Han Bing Jieyu. Countless white snowflakes clashed with the purple heavenly lightning. They collided violently. The sound was intense. She didn't stop, unleashing her third technique, Bing Feng Jijia. The purple wolf exhaled, attempting to suck Qi Mengdai in. She barely managed to escape. She stumbled back, clutching her chest, a trickle of blood staining her lips. The Great Sage Middle Stage Tribulation lightning was unexpectedly ferocious, abnormally so. Snowflakes drifted down gently. The surroundings were almost entirely frozen. The scene was both chaotic and mesmerizingly beautiful. It seemed she had won. She smiled, covering her belly with her hand. Thankfully, Bao Bao was all right. Qi Mengdai returned successfully. He applauded, congratulating his Shurzuin on successfully overcoming the tribulation, and urged him to quickly enter his room to stabilize his cultivation. She turned around and smiled gently. Thank you for the 10,000-year-old stalactite. If it weren't for it, my fate would be uncertain. Suashio waved his hand. Don't mention it, we are not strangers. She smirked, a profound look in her eyes. Engage do. I don't know why this time the lightning tribulation is so big, even 5 times stronger than the 3rd level of Great Saint, completely defying common sense. A new day arrived, and Chu Xiao opened the door. Zhang San yawned lazily as he stepped out. Princess Ziyu passed by and saw his languid face. She asked with concern, Xingzi Dianxia, your complexion doesn't look well. Chu Xiao was startled. It was so obvious. He forced a smile and said, I'm cultivating a powerful technique. It consumes a bit of blood, don't mind it. The girls immediately expressed their admiration. Xingzi Dianxia is truly diligent. So that's how it is. The carriage has arrived. The coachman said, Your Highness, Princess, the carriage is ready, we can depart at any time. Chu Xiao asked where Elder Emma was. The coachman replied that before dawn, Qingming Town ahead had sent news of discovering substantial traces of demonic activity. They had sent a request for aid to Qingxian City. Upon receiving the news, Elder Emo immediately went there, saying he would wait for them further ahead after handling the situation. Chu Xiao frowned and thought. A large number of demonic cultivators infiltrating human territory was strange. Normally, demonic cultivators wouldn't actively invade human settlements. They preferred to hide in the shadows, wreaking havoc from afar. Why would they suddenly attack an unremarkable town? He put his hand behind his head, pretending not to care. The actions of the demon clan are unpredictable. We should set off first and believe that Elder Emo will handle it well. He secretly made a plan. He would take the opportunity to go there, and see if any rare and precious treasures had appeared. The horse-drawn carriage slowly traversed the verdant meadow. Princess Ziyu closed her eyes, savoring the moment. The scenery of the grassland was simply breathtaking. Chu Xiao wasn't as happy. It was a pity, the scenery here was beautiful. Perhaps it's best to do what needs to be done with Shurzuin. Just thinking about it made him drool. Nearby, on the grassland, 4 people were hiding. That's Xiao Yifeng. He smirked triumphantly. Sua Xiao, your death is upon you. Xiao Yifeng led the way, followed by the 3 girls. His face twisted, his smile turning manic. Chu Xiao, you insignificant novice, only I am worthy of becoming the holy son of this sacred ground. He flung a volley of needles toward Chu Xiao, who sat by the window. Your life ends here. But suddenly, a giant hand emerged from within, blocking all the needles. The girls froze. How could this be? Wasn't Elder Ma absent? And who was protecting Suvu? The massive hand continued its assault, sending all 4 figures flying. Several people inside the horse-drawn carriage lifted the curtains to look outside. Xiao Yifeng and his group were knocked to the ground, lying there miserably. The one who intervened was Qi Mengdai. She stepped forward and said, Xiao Yifeng, you and the Shalong Society are in league with these rats, planning to kill Chu Xiao, aren't you? Xiao Yifeng knelt down and kowtowed in apology. Master, I know I've made a mistake, please forgive me. Qi Mengdai listed each of his crimes one by one. You target Su Xiao, thinking I wouldn't know? She said. First you instigated Ling Jianyun to destroy his cultivation, then you sent people to hunt him down in the wild beast's secret realm, and now you brought with you the rats of the Divine Dragon Society to kill him. I'm not giving you no chance, you just don't know how to seize it. Xiao Yifeng looked at her in horror. Shurzuin, you want to kill me for Chu Xiao? He didn't understand what gave him the right. He roared in fury. That good-for-nothing Suvu could be the senior disciple for 30 years. And he gets to become a saint cultivator? What about me? I am the most outstanding true disciple of Yunhafeng. Master, can't you see? She asked him, is the position of senior brother so important in your heart? Xiao Yifeng clenched his fists, unwilling. How could it not be important? Only by becoming the senior brother, the chosen one, can I possess more power and avenge my parents. He then burst into tears. Shirzun, why are you so good to Chu Xiao? Even though he is a waste, you still give him the position of senior brother. Qi Mengdai recalled the past. That year, in the Tiankai Kingdom, while in secluded cultivation, external demons invaded Qishan County. Chu Xiao's parents, the county magistrate and his wife, died fighting to cover the common people's escape. To compensate for the loss of Qishan's magistrate and his wife, I made Chu Xiao the chief inheritor of Yunhe Peak. Xiao Yifeng spread his arms, laughing wildly. So, I'm just defeated by the protection left by Su Xiao's parents. He shouted. I didn't lose to Su Xiao. She said he lost because of his own character. But no matter how you put it, he harmed others for his own gain, which is wrong. Xiao Yifeng frowned and said, Master, I have wronged Su Xiao in the past. Please convey a message to him for me. The Ouyang family in the eastern continent possesses a counterfeit version of one of the 9 legendary secrets. Then he reached into his chest and committed suicide. Xiao Yifeng fell, his blood staining the green grassland crimson. Chu Xiao crossed his arms and looked at him sideways. Dead? Wrong. With Shirzun's personality, he wouldn't kill him. No matter, I'll just ask Shirzun tonight. The trouble was over. The group headed towards Qingmeng town. Princess Ziyu and her entourage sat on one side, amused by the golden chicken. Chu Xiao calmly sipped his tea. Upon meeting with Elder Emo in Qingmeng town, he learned there hadn't been any large-scale Yao activity. It was just a low-level tiger Yao causing trouble. The townsfolk have been spreading rumors, things are getting out of hand. This is likely the work of Xiao Yifeng. His goal is to lure Mo Changlao away from my side. He just didn't expect my master to follow along. Hearing the noise, his eyes turned towards the door. Had Shirzun arrived? He stood up and looked at her. Holding her hand, he asked, What's wrong? You don't seem to be in a good mood. Qi Mengdai told him, Xiao Yifeng is dead. Su He looked sad. Why did his second junior brother suddenly die? What happened? In his mind, the system was silently mocking him. Host, you are such a green tea. I don't want to talk much about this. It's a long story, I'll tell you later. But before he died, he told me to tell you, Jiazi Mi, one of the 9 secrets of legend, is in the hands of his enemy, the Ouyang family in Dongzhou. Chu Xiao gave a dangerous smile. So this guy wanted to play him even in death. Well, he would definitely jump into this pit. She sat down and picked up her teacup. Are you preparing to infiltrate the Ouyang family and steal their secret manual? He suddenly kissed her cheek. Qi Mengdai was caught off guard and instantly blushed. My disciple, I will avenge my second brother. The Ouyang family in Dongzhou is his enemy, they are the enemy of our Sohu. Now my second brother is gone, his revenge, naturally I, as the eldest brother, must avenge him. Speaking of the last sentence, he emphasized it. Who said we were best friends? She knew him all too well, she scoffed. Out of your mouth, 10 sentences wouldn't even contain one truthful one. So Xiao furrowed his brow and grabbed her hand. How is this possible? You said you wanted to marry, didn't you? Why are you saying it's not real now? Are you trying to fool me? The woman glared at him. Shut your mouth, or I'll subdue you. His hand touched her sash, suppressing her, it seemed. She shyly stopped him. You little rascal, don't talk nonsense. You really want to go to Dongzhou? The Ouyang family of Dongzhou is not to be trifled with. They already have 2 peak saint realm cultivators. They have the backing of a saint land, so it's difficult to take action against them. Don't worry, Su Xiao said confidently. I have my own way. He pulled out each book from his chest, feigning propriety. My good Shirzun, it's getting late, time to impart your teachings to this disciple. Qi Meng scolded him, Get lost. Don't touch me. But she still couldn't resist his power. They continued their entanglement. Su Xiao knew exactly how to make Qi Mengdai reach the peak. She was both blissful and pained in her enjoyment. The two cultivated together through the long night. Moans of pleasure continuously drifted out from behind the curtains. The next day was another beautiful morning. Chu Xiao opened the window with a flourish. Unlock some new knowledge with Shirzun today. Life is truly boundless and optimistic. Princess Ziyu stood beside the carriage and waved to him. Xingzi Dianxia, we are about to depart. After a day's journey, we can reach Daming. He cheerfully waved back. The group reached the border of the Great Ming. Thousands of soldiers stood in formation before the city gates. A young man on a white horse led the procession to the carriage. Chu Yunfei, eldest son of the northern king of the Great Ming garrison, on behalf of my father, on behalf of the Great Ming imperial family, welcomes His Highness the Holy Son. Princess Ziyu was puzzled. Second brother didn't send a member of the royal family to welcome the Holy Son, but instead sent this person. What was he thinking? The group exited the carriage. Chu Yunfei greeted them. Greetings, Holy Son, greetings, Elder Mo. The surrounding soldiers murmured amongst themselves. So that handsome young man is the saint son of Taisu Star? As expected of an elite cultivated by a sacred land of the immortal world, his aura is truly extraordinary. Chu Yunfei requested that His Highness the Holy Son move. Princess Ziyu guessed. Is he here to block our path? That won't do. She gently tugged at the corner of his robe. His face was hesitant and worried. Could it be that the saintly son wanted to go with him? After all, along the way, he had said that we were good friends. Unfazed by her actions, he continued with the group. Ziyu stopped in midair. We are all good friends, and we agreed to go together. Just as a calming voice said. Ziyu, little girl, don't be nervous. The golden rooster covered its mouth and chuckled slyly. Don't worry, every move that old So makes has its reason. Suo who stepped into a different carriage, even more luxurious and magnificent, accompanied by a group of soldiers for protection. 4 people sat around the table. Chu Yunfei introduced each of them. Your Highness, this is Brother Yangchen, the only son of the sect master of Songyun Sword Sect. His cultivation is at the middle stage of divine ability realm, a true hero of our southern region. And this is Fairy Bai Dao, the eldest senior sister of Yueqiong Palace, also at the middle stage of divine ability realm. Don't let her delicate appearance fool you, her combat strength is quite formidable. Looking at the beautiful girl in front of him, the system smugly asked, when did you get to know them? Why didn't I know? Chu Xiu explained it to him. When I was still old Demon Chu, I cultivated the soul seed technique, which could plant a soul seed into the divine soul of a cultivator who hadn't reached the divine bridge realm. As the target cultivated and their cultivation level increased, the soul seed would also gradually grow. Finally, it would carve the caster's divine soul imprint within the cultivator's divine soul, ensuring no rejection during the soul seizing process. Bai Yao is one of the chosen ones. The system praised. Unexpectedly, the host is so resourceful, truly a natural-born villain, even thinking of several escape routes for themselves. But the system really couldn't believe it. The host actually wouldn't even spare a woman. Did he want to possess a woman's body? Zhou Yunfei enthusiastically invited him. What are you still standing there for? Let's drink. His Highness the Saint's son must want to enjoy this peach blossom brew. Suohu took a sip. The liquor was indeed delicious, but he couldn't understand why the 3 of them were looking for him. Chu Yunfei cupped his hands solemnly and suddenly suggested, Xingzi Dianxia, I believe the annual tribute of 100,000 divine source stones from the imperial family to the Holy Land is too little. Su Xiu asked, so what does Brother Chu propose? In my opinion, the Holy Land Taisu protects the southern domain, it is the divine guardian of our great Ming. We should offer 1,200,000 annually to show our sincerity. With an additional 100,000 specifically for Dianxia. Stop pretending, he said, cutting to the chase. You're here to ask for my help in your rebellion, aren't you? 3 people put on a righteous facade. Conversely, it couldn't be called treason either, mainly for the bright future of the sacred land and our great destiny. Shi Yunfei placed a gold ingot on the table. Su Hu took the gold nugget. This deal can be negotiated. You win, I win, everyone wins. Chi Mengdep stood outside, cursing under her breath. This rebellious disciple was so brazenly and righteously accepting a bribe. Chu Ziyu, if she saw this scene, she would probably vomit blood, right? This seat will silently observe what this rebellious disciple intends to do. Exiting the carriage, Zhu Yunfei cheerfully promised, Xingzi Dianxia, rest assured, once we reach Shangjing City, I will personally deliver the remaining items to you. He smirked, his goal achieved. Now with the support of Saint Sun Taisu, the great Ming dynasty's change in reign was only a matter of time. He turned to Feng Dao and said, once we arrive in Shangjing, due to my and Brother Yang's status, it would be inconvenient for us to interact closely with the Holy Son. We'll have to trouble Fairy Bai Dao to attend to him from now on. Bai Dao smiled and replied, young Master Chu is too polite. So Xiu returned to his seat on the carriage where he had started. The carriage moved slowly down the road. While walking, he suggested a change of route. I wanted to go to Yunai and take a look. Princess Ziyu hesitantly spoke to him. That? Holy Son Dianxiao, what did Chu Yunfei say to you? He didn't hide anything and spoke directly. He is still negotiating with me on how to usurp the throne. Ziyu was terrified. Her voice trembled. Your Highness, you want to help Chu Yunfei and his group? So Xiao denied immediately. Of course not. Even if I wasn't here, they would still plan to seize the throne at the new king's coronation ceremony. To them, I'm just a tool on stage, equivalent to embroidery on flowers. Ziyu bowed her head, pleading. Holy Son, please save our great Ming. Her maid, Qiu Yu, sobbed beside her. Holy Son, Jinbei Wang's power is immense. Our Chu family is no match for him. Now that he intends to rebel, only you can save us. He propped his chin on his hand, looking bored. Ziyu. Actually, I have another way to help you all out of this predicament. A way to permanently remove the source of the poison for your Chu family. But humans have a habit, they like fair trades. I help you, what do you offer in return? The system muttered. Green beans, the host is really too cunning, eating from both ends, eating the house above and then the house below. Such a shameless person, a breakthrough earned, 200. Princess Ziyu clutched the corner of her dress. Her face flushed as she stammered, Watoni. Chi Meng Dai stared at the scene in disbelief. The golden chicken perched on his shoulder chuckled with delight. He flicked Tu Noyet's forehead, snapping her out of her daze. What are you thinking about? He asked. Her voice trembled as she replied. Don't you want to? A moment later, she was completely lost in thought. He said clearly. Yatu, what are you thinking about? Chu Xiao, though despicable, would not stoop so low as to harm a woman's junior, especially since her aunt died for him. Chi Meng Dai was also angry. This little girl, so young, why wasn't she embarrassed at all? Couldn't she learn to be graceful like this seat? The group has arrived. The driver informed the princess that they had arrived at Yunai Peak. Princess Ziyu angrily walked out. Holy Son, please enjoy your stroll. Ziyu bids you farewell. He cheerfully agreed. Inform your father or your royal brother about the price. I will personally discuss it with them. She didn't forget to turn around and thank him again. Thank you, Xingzi Dianxia, for being willing to help our royal family. Chu Xiao said there was no need to thank him, as both sides benefited. The mountain scenery was quite beautiful. Where he stood, there were two ancient, verdant trees. He looked at the stone in front of him. This green stone felt smooth, likely from frequent meditation practice upon it. The surface of the stone was even engraved with symbols. Chu Bich Noyet's familiar voice rang out. He opened his eyes wide and listened. Little man, your sister knows you won't die so easily. Accompanying the voice was the figure of a girl, Gu Niang, who seemed to appear out of nowhere. A moment later, the beautiful Zhu Biyue appeared. After all, you fear death more than anyone else, and you are more cunning and insidious than anyone else. Do not ask where I am going. I only know I am going to a place called Honghuang. It is very far away. We may not see each other again in this lifetime. She gently stroked his face. If you get the chance, take care of the Chu family for your sister. It's my debt to them. Then, his entire body gradually dissolved into nothingness. In the end, you wicked wretch, my beloved sister loves you. Su Hu stood there, stunned for a moment. Honghuang, it was Honghuang again. What kind of place was that after all? If you can only stay in the primordial era for 3 months through the stone mirror, how could Zhu Biyue not return? A voice appeared behind him. Were you reading the imprint of divine consciousness just now? He turned to look at the approaching Chi Meng Dai. This sovereign did not perceive it. How did you know there was a divine sense sealing inscription within the blue stone? Su Hu leaned against the rock. You could feel it after touching it, right? Otherwise, what do you think? She asked again. So why did you come to Yunhai? He teased. A virtuous woman, why so many questions? Are you asking for trouble? She was annoyed. You little rascal! He grabbed her arm. He pulled her onto his lap. Shirzwin, under this beautiful moonlight, it's the perfect time to teach this disciple. Her face flushed crimson. Naughty disciple, what do you think you're doing in broad daylight? As if in response, he stroked her 2 plump peaches. She blushed and scolded him. Rascal, you are shameless. Chu Xiao placed a finger on her lips, whispering. Tonight we'll deal with someone. Come with me. Chi Mengnai asked in surprise, where to? 2 people journeyed together to the Taoist temple. Entering, he led her to a statue. She asked, and I Dao with Daozhili Gan Shenmi? His hand touched its forehead, drawing a small spell formation. Just a moment later, a box was thrown out from inside. Her eyes widened in astonishment. How did you know this was here? When did you arrive? She asked. He didn't answer her question, only said, One look is enough. Why so many questions? Curiosity killed the cat. Taking the items, the 2 went to Shangjing City. The horse-drawn carriage slowly rolled into the capital city of Deming, the imperial city. Princess Siyu bid farewell. Saint Sun, Your Highness, had Qin Gongong escort him to meet the elders and then to the embassy to inform the Holy Palace of our departure. He agreed, promising to see her again later. So Hu and Mo Fian went together to the embassy of the Holy Land of the Great Sovereign. She entered. He waited outside. The girls, seeing him, whispered among themselves. Everyone says that Saint Sun Dianxia has always been humble and friendly with his fellow disciples. Saint Sun Dianxia is truly handsome, especially when he smiles. My heart almost melts. He proactively spoke to a girl. How Tai, please tell the kitchen to prepare some dishes. There will be guests tonight. She nodded in agreement, her heart filled with joy. The saintly son actually spoke to her, and even called her How Tai. Inside the room, the golden chicken held a skewer, eating and drinking to its heart's content. That guy was right, guests really did arrive, he's quite sharp. The two men at the table cheerfully toasted each other. Zhu Yunfei enthusiastically poured wine for Su Xiu. Brother Zhu, rest assured I know what to do. Zhu Yunfei was generous, giving Su Xiu 300,000 divine yuan stones. He flattered. Of course, I trust the saint's son. My father is still in seclusion, he told me to greet you on his behalf. He will definitely come to atone for his sins after leaving seclusion. After drinking for a while, both of them were slightly tipsy. Zhu Yunfei continuously praised, saying that Xingzi Dianxia's wine was truly different and tasted exceptionally good. Su Xiu, upon hearing this, replied, You're too kind. What atonement? After this matter is concluded, we shall celebrate. He put his arm around his friend's shoulder, and they walked out together. Right. The saint's son was right. Meng Dai hid behind the screen and watched them go. A moment later he returned. She asked. What you gave Zhu Yunfei wasn't wine but poison, was it? Moments ago, you called him brother, yet now you poison him. How truly vicious. Chu Xiu walked to the table and pulled out a chair. He calmly sat down, holding a wine jug in one hand, and said to her, Treating your enemy with kindness is cruelty to yourself. Master, you've cultivated for so many years, how can you still not see through this? She raised her voice and said, Benzwa still needs you to remind me? I just feel that the methods you used are too despicable. You are a dignified Xingzi, yet you use poison. Aren't you afraid of being ridiculed by others if word gets out? He gripped her wrist. He pulled her into his lap. White cat, black cat, the one that catches mice is the good cat, she said, her face flushed, reminding him not to get any funny ideas. His eyes nervously glanced at the door. Someone was here. It was Bai Dao outside. In one hand she held a cup of wine, in the other she knocked on the door. Your Highness, I've arrived, she coldly questioned. Why are you looking for a female cultivator at this late hour? You clearly don't respect me at all. He pushed her away and coaxed. Go hide for a while. I'll be with you later. Bai Yao opened the door and entered. Holy Son, I brought some Gui Huanyang. Would you care for a taste? Su Xiu said, put it on the table first. Ji Mengdai hid in a corner, frowning. Bai Dao, the fairy of Yukun Palace, actually brought her love potion to charm her own family's rebellious son. Humph, let's see if this rebellious son's will is firm. The two of them were sweet and close, inseparable. Saint Son, let me help you. He called her gently. Bitch Dao immortal. Qi Mingdia's blood boiled. What was this? Did they really think he was heir? But at this moment, she cautiously discovered something. What kind of technique is this? Bai Yao Xian's eyes, why do they resemble those of a scoundrel like that? He ordered Bai Dao. Take this back and find an opportunity to let Shu Long smell the fragrance of the flowers inside. Absolutely do not get caught. After 1 hour, return here and tell Zhu Yunfei you have succeeded. Bai Dao obediently complied. Afterward, it returned to its duties. She hid behind the door and asked, What did you do to her? It was during the last time I drank with them. This poison is called Sanhua Ju Ding, a combination of 3 different types of poison. Part of it was given to Zhu Yunfei, the rest was given to Bai Dao Xianzi to be given to Zhu Long. He took out a bottle. The remainder was in my hand. The 3 poisons are harmless when separated. However, within a 1,000-meter radius of each other, they become uncontrollable. Even a great saint like Zhu Long would lose 4/10 of their power. She crossed her legs and exclaimed, You are truly cruel. You're already plotting to kill your opponent just after meeting them? But even a great saint with his power reduced by 4/5 is not someone you can easily handle. Do you really want me to help you? Don't even think about it, I won't help you, Su Hu said calmly to her. I didn't say you have to do it. This is a Con Sat Tran, a 7th grade formation. As long as you have enough divine essence stones, it can be activated in a blink of an eye. At that time, do you think Zhulong will still be able to survive with 4/5 of his power gone? She stared at him in amazement. A person with spirit origin stones? He explained that Ji Yunfei had given him a lot of spirit origin stones. Friends should help each other out. As he spoke, he casually poured the water from the bottle into the glass. Afterward, he served tea to her, inviting his Shizun to drink. Chi Mengdai accepted without suspicion. Being your friend is truly tragic. She closed her eyes and drained the cup. Then she felt strange. Her whole body was sweating, burning like fire. Wait, what did you just give this venerable one to drink? Chu Xiu cheerfully introduced the Gui Hua Qingjiang that Bai Yao Xianzi had just brought over. She widened her eyes in astonishment. Do you know what this is? He dragged out his voice, leaning close to her face and whispering. Of course, master. I'm afraid I might not be able to defeat Zhulong, so I need to prepare a little. Please help me advance my cultivation level, master. Surely you wouldn't want me to lose to Zhulong, would you? Chi Mengdai's whole body was flushed, weak, and powerless, and he easily suppressed her. So Xiu slapped her bottom. Master, please lie down. He pinned her down, leaned close to her ear and whispered. So good. Afterward they began to cultivate. Chi Mengdai moaned, a mixture of pleasure and pain. 2 hours later, the dual cultivation ended. Chu Xiu neatly dressed and left. Shizun, you've worked hard. Good night. But today was different. Suahu trembled as he leaned against the door. This power was a bit too strong, he had to remember to tone it down next time. A knock echoed from outside. He looked out, puzzled. Who would come looking for him this late? 3 cloaked figures, their faces hidden, approached him. Chu Xiu inquired about their purpose. The man in the center clasped his hands, pleading, Qingzi Dianxia, please save my Chu family. The hood was pulled back, revealing Emperor Zhu Yong. Decades had passed since they last met, and his brother-in-law had aged considerably, suggesting that his reign had been less than fulfilling. He invited them into the guest room. Ziyu has already told you, hasn't she? Helping you comes at a price. Emperor Chu Yong enthusiastically replied, Please, your highness, tell us. As long as the Chu family can do it, don't just mention 2 conditions, even more are acceptable. Su Xiu proposed 2 conditions. First, I want 2 items from the imperial treasury. Second, after this is done, Jinbei Wang's entire estate will belong to me. The emperor readily agreed. The agreement reached, he told them to go back. A young man and woman said in unison, Xianxing Dianxia, how may we help you? He smiled at them. Just act normal. Leave the rest to me. The next morning, outside the upper capital city, at the embassy of the Taisu Holy Land, Chu Xiu stretched and stepped out. He saw Chi Mengdai leisurely sitting on a chair, eating berries. Master, didn't you say you had something to do? She tilted her chin. So what, do you think I'm a nuisance? Yes, I do. Ignoring him, she picked up a berry and held it up. This is the upper capital city. This is not your domain, you rebellious scumbag. I'll stay wherever I want, what are you going to do about it? He teased. Don't be so unruly, your cold and mortal image is about to crumble. She shooed him away while munching on the berry. Go away, I don't care about you. Chu Xiu was at a loss. This woman was truly difficult to deal with. He hoped Hua Jiejia wouldn't be like this in the future. He placed his hand on her shoulder. We have to go out for a while now, you can't follow me. You understand, don't you? Silence means consent. Don't follow me, I can sense your presence. She turned away, murmuring, who would want to? In the bustling capital of Shangjing, people streamed in and out, beggars and wealthy merchants alike. Suahu arrived at the place he had been to the day before. The girl outside the door invited him in. She led him to a familiar place. Upon arrival, he asked, Are my things ready? She replied that she had been waiting for a long time. The formations you require are all inside this pouch. It rests on the table. He tucked the shard of glass into her breast. The traces of Yuehua Di Jing are also here. She happily accepted it. Her gaze was thoughtful and profound. Night fell, and the full moon was breathtaking. The capital, the secret underground chamber of the Northern King's manor. A man in a robe approached a man hanging upside down in a prison. Zhulong, I have good news for you. It was last night, someone poisoned me. That person grinned, his eyes flashing with terrifying golden light. Unfortunately, he did not succeed. The man hanging upside down, covered in wounds, asked him, Tianmian Jinjuan, what exactly are you trying to do? He said, of course, to become the emperor of the great Ming. You know? That precious son of yours dreams of becoming the crown prince. Tell me, should I fulfill his dream? The old man muttered, that rebellious son. Tian Dianjinjuan's face twisted. His nails sharpened into fox claws. Once I become the emperor of the Great Ming, I can use the vast population to perform a blood sacrifice and annihilate Ren-Chi. After awakening this Qin Chi Ling, the old man asserted, the sacred ground of Tai Su will not allow you to succeed. He hated himself. Chu Long, I have fought for the Great Ming all my life, never daring to slack off for a moment. Who knew that in the end, I would be replaced by a demon, and become a traitor? Tianmian Jinjuan said, that precious son of yours invited Taisu Xingzi to gather at Piaoshuahu Island. This lord is planning to go there to discuss the matter of seizing the throne with him. Chu Long was shocked. What? Taisu Xingdi is supporting their plot to usurp the throne? This is impossible. The heavenly-faced true monarch had transformed into an azure dragon. He chuckled and said, Your wife, I'll take care of her. You don't need to worry. Zhu Yunfei is very obedient, a good son. Your empress is truly quite plump. The azure dragon roared in fury. Heavenly-faced true monarch, I will kill you. You must die. On the Piaoshui Lake Island, snow fell heavily. In the room, everyone was excitedly discussing. They said that Qi Wigan, the senior elder of Qishinzong, would come to the great city in half a month, borrowing the Ziguangshenhua from Xinyanzong to help refine a sacred artifact. At that time, a grand tournament would be held in Shangjing, and the young people who received the invitation could participate. I heard that Qi Wigan had promised to personally refine an artifact for the strongest person. Chu Yunfei sat opposite Su Xiao, who asked, Brother Chu, was this boundless expert the one who initially refined Guiyuan? He said the refining method for Guiyuan was indeed created by a senior to combat demons. So Xiao was secretly delighted. He had long wanted to refine this artifact, and now, unexpectedly, this master refiner had come to the southern realm. He couldn't believe that Zhulong was so wary, and that his poison had failed. Thankfully, Bidao Xianzi wasn't discovered. Someone outside shouted, Jinbei Wang has arrived. He turned to look, perfect timing, lets me meet him in person. Celestial surface true monarch now transformed into Zhulong, majestically entering. His hair flowed to his shoulders. Muscular physique, stern gaze. Chu Yunfei enthusiastically introduced. Father, this is the holy son of the Taisu Holy Land, His Highness Chu Xiao. He cupped his hands in greeting. Greetings, holy son Chu Xiao. Chu Xiao replied. Jinbei Wang. The three of them sat down at the table. Tianmian Jinjuan spoke first. Xingzi Dianxia, allow me to offer you a toast. He responded humbly. Jinbei Wang, with your illustrious achievements, it is I who should toast you. Su Hu silently assessed the man in front of him. Why did he feel demonic energy coming from the northern frontier king? No wonder the poison failed, the northern frontier king had been replaced by a demon beast. Tianmian Jinjuan stood up, holding a wine cup. Xingzi Dianxia, a few days ago, the matter that my son discussed with you, has it been discovered by anyone else? Su Xiao also raised his cup. Jinbei Wang, are you referring to the matter of seizing power? Has something happened? Su Hu silently calculated. First, he would play along with him for a while, then find a chance to poison him. But at this moment, Chu Yunfei suddenly covered his mouth and fell from his chair. His foster father, Tian Dianjinjuan, asked him, Yunfei, what's wrong with you? Chu Yunfei lay unconscious on the ground, his mouth bloodied. The nearby girl screamed in terror. So Xiao ran to ask, Shuhuin, is this poisoning? Tianmian Jinjuan said, this poison is very strong. If you don't expel it in time, after 30 breaths, Yunfei will surely die on the spot. He feigned concern, looking at his nephew. Yunfei, protect your meridians. I will use my essence to force out the poison. Right now, we can't ignore his life or death. Otherwise, people will suspect my identity, which is not conducive to the next plan. He placed his hand on Chu Yunfei's chest, circulating his qi. So Xiao waved his hand and shouted. This poison is highly toxic. Everyone stay away, don't get close. The onlookers were terrified and backed away. So Hu covered his mouth and laughed. Finally, he had successfully poisoned him. It's your turn now. The girl fearfully asked, who administered the poison? How audacious, to poison the Jinbei Wang's son and father in broad daylight. Outside the window, Bai Dao Xianzu, sword in hand, charged in. The sword tip aimed straight at Tianmian Jinjuan. He blocked her sword. So it was you. The crowd was in chaos. Could this be poison administered by Bai Yao Xianzi? No, that can't be right. Bai Yao Xianzi is a close friend of Brother Chu. She has no motive. At this moment, Suho raised his hand and cast a spell, causing Bai Dao Xianzi to self-destruct. Boom! Bai Dao exploded. The heavenly-faced true monarch was on guard. Did he self-destruct? Immediately afterward, A time vortex appeared, and an old woman stepped out from within. That was the former palace mistress of Yuqiong Palace, Qiongyu. The dignified old woman, holding her staff, questioned the Jinbei Wang. Why did you want to kill my disciple? The heavenly-faced true monarch said he did not kill her, but that she had destroyed herself. Gwyn Noyet Elder refused to listen to his explanation. He said, I used to think it was right for you to become the emperor, but you killed my precious granddaughter. It seems I was blind. Her face creased, eyes sharp. She uttered a single word, Sha. Then, unleashing immense spiritual power, prepared to attack. A blizzard raged on the floating snow lake island. The girl in the orange dress ran out and said to him, Your Highness, please persuade him. Chi Mengdai transmitted her voice to him. There's a great saint in the Shangjing city. Don't get involved, come back quickly. He obediently listened. Everyone, I have some matters to attend to at home, so I must take my leave. Shizun instructed me not to linger in places with too much commotion, so I shall depart quickly. Chi Mengdai sat in the room, propping her chin in her hand, fiddling with something. This was truly worrying. She didn't know where she was going, and her energy was so strong. It was definitely something to beat her for. Chu Xiu returned to the Tai Su embassy. He saw the person in charge of the Su on the road. Was she going to stop the fight? She said protecting Shangjing City was her duty. He turned and walked into the room without another word. Forget it, he thought. Let her be. It's best not to interfere with another person's karma. Chi Mengdai was already dressed and playing the zither. You scoundrel! Such a big incident happened in the upper capital, yet you didn't return. Where did you go? He raised his hands in a gesture of innocence. I was just meeting with Jinbei Wang. When I heard Shizun was looking for me, I returned. Seeing his response, she continued, You met with Jinbei Wang? Why did you fight with Gwyn Noyet, the former palace lord of Noyet Gwyn Kung? He returned to his seat beside her, his hand casually resting on her waist. That wasn't important. The crux of the matter was his suspicion that Jinbei Wang had been replaced by a Yao, a demon with profound cultivation, making it a formidable opponent. Chu Xiu opened one eye and looked at her. As I see it, the waters of the upper capital are a bit deep, or should we also run away? She didn't understand his thinking. Didn't you agree with Zhu Ziyu to help the Xu family? Why do you want to run away at the first sign of danger? He justified himself. I call this being cautious and thorough. What does a moral woman like Master understand? If you don't know, you should shut up. She repeated his words in a loud voice. A virtuous woman? You insolent brat, you dare to speak to me like that. Do you want to be beaten? He smirked, a small ball of energy forming in his hand. Master, don't forget that I can seal your cultivation at any time. Master, you seem tense lately. Have you forgotten how it felt to be beneath me? Perhaps I should remind you today. The golden orb transformed into a silken cord. Chi Mengdai stammered, No, it's still daylight. He leaned closer, the rope in his hand. Since when did we differentiate between day and night? Besides, close your eyes and it's dark. She bit her lip, looking at the black silk with fear. He covered her eyes. Chi Mengdai was confused. If you are a man, then release the seal on me. Chu Xiu immediately refused. Absolutely not. Chi Mengdia's senses heightened, her cries becoming increasingly alluring and captivating as they reached a climax of pleasure. A moment later, their embrace ended. Chu Xiu walked out. Princess Ziyu hesitantly called out to him, Your Highness? He asked how the investigation was going. Had Zhou Long's documents arrived? She presented a tray, saying everything had been delivered. Seeing her staring, he asked what was wrong. She blushed, looking at the lipstick mark on his cheek. Xingzi Dianxia, there's a lip print on your face. So Xiu quickly wiped it away with his hand. It wasn't a kiss mark, he was bitten by a cat. Suddenly, a girl rushed in and called out to him. Excuse me, Xingzi Dian. What happened in Xiao? My master. Master. Her soul tablet is shattered. Suo Xiu was surprised. The emissary is dead? In the void above the upper capital, Tian Mian Jinjuan asked the person beside him, Why do you want to kill her? Don't you know she is in charge of the Tai Su embassy? The mysterious figure in black said that she had seen someone wielding the demonic powers of the Yao race, so what other choice did they have but to kill her and silence her? Tian Mian Jinjun held his forehead in despair. But capturing her alive would be better than killing her. The Tai Su Holy Land would definitely send people to investigate, and their plan to use the imperial authority to slaughter humans would be useless. The mysterious figure revealed a chilling smile. Rest assured, before taking action, I have sealed off the space of Shangjing City. Within 12 hours, they cannot transmit any information to the outside world. The only great sage, Xu Long, in Shangjing City is under your control. Qiongyu, who just arrived, has also been killed by us. Now, who in Shangjing City can stop us? Tianmian Jinjun still felt anxious. But the Saint Son of Tai Su was also in Shangjing City. The mysterious figure didn't hesitate. It was just a small Saint Son who wasn't fully grown. What was there to fear? He could crush him at any time. Alright, don't waste any more time. You go to the Imperial Palace and destroy the Eye formation of the Spirit formation. I'll go prepare the Blood Sacrifice formation. The man in black choked the emissary to death with a single hand. She couldn't even struggle. In Chu Xiu's quarters at the Crown Prince Embassy, he and his Sherfu reviewed the recording. Chi Mengdai remarked, "This person is very strong, likely a mid-stage Grand Saint. With the addition of the Northern Garrison King, Shangjing City will probably have 2 Grand Saints." Su Xiu originally intended to find someone to send a message to the Holy Land, but the space of Shangjing City has been sealed, and news cannot be transmitted outside. He told her, "It seems their appetite is insatiable. They're ready to devour the entire Shangjing City. How about we flee? We can take the Chu family with us. That way, they'll survive, and we won't be seen as traitors." She was speechless. What about the hundreds of millions of ordinary people here? Chi Mengdai made up her mind. "You can go, but I can't. Protecting the peace of this land is the duty of a cultivator of the Holy Land." He held her hand. "If that's the case, you should go to the Imperial Palace immediately. Even if the other party wants to do something, they must destroy the 99 eye formations of the spiritual formation first." She turned around and asked, "What about you?" He stroked her hand. "My life is precious. I'm not going out to play the role of some saint. Naturally, I'm hiding in the embassy waiting for you to return. Be absolutely safe, don't let anything happen." With everything arranged, she left with peace of mind. "Considering you still have some conscience, you should stay here and don't wander around." Chi Mengdai strolled out the door. He smiled and called out, "Master, be careful." Loud explosions rocked the Imperial Palace. Smoke and dust filled the air as debris rained down. Tianmian Jinjuan has revealed his true form. Now he is fighting against Chi Mengdai. "You are in Shangjing City, that's truly unexpected." Sword in hand, she asked Tianmian Jinjun, "Are you impersonating Jinbei Wang?" He smiled faintly, acknowledging it. Upon receiving the answer, Chi Mengdai immediately flew towards him, pointing his sword at him. "Ice and Snow Annihilation, 3 Realms Sword," Tianmian Jinjuan exclaimed. Just as he arrived, he used the great divine ability Sword Decree against me. His hand swept up, crackling with lightning, his sword cleaving toward her wave of water. Shatter! The waves crashed, she ducked to avoid the attack. When he looked up, his eyes were cold and menacing. Another wave of ice and water crashed toward him. The pressure this time was even more terrifying than before. Tianmian Jinjuan was in trouble. He called out to his allies. "This crazy woman. Hey Hun, stop watching the show and come help me. I'm no match for her." A dark figure appeared blocking his path. A giant hand, imbued with dark energy, forced Chi Mengdai back. The black soul laughed at Tianmian Jinjun. "You are truly a disgrace," he sneered. He didn't hesitate to speak his mind. It was beyond comprehension how this woman, after breaking through to the mid-stage of the great saint, had become so unbelievably powerful. A formidable aura, impossible to resist. Chi Mengdai stared coldly at the 2 figures before him. He Hun glanced at him, his tone still confident. "Let's join forces, 2 against 1. No matter how strong she is, shall die." At this very moment, a crimson stream of chi burst forth from the city walls below. Tianmian Jinjuan looked down in panic. "Oh no, the restriction formation imprisoning the Azure Dragon has been broken." He hurriedly said, "No, you go deal with the Azure Dragon first. We can't let him recover. Otherwise, if he joins forces with Chi Mengdai, it will be a huge hassle." Tianmian Jinjuan had no choice but to leave in a huff. He felt extremely annoyed. Damn it, who messed up my good deed? Chi Mengdai saw this, picked up his sword, and chased after him. "You can't escape." He Hun stopped her. "Don't go yet, our fight isn't over." Chi Mengdai angrily transmitted her voice to Chu Xiu. "Disciple, didn't you say you wanted to hide in the embassy? You tricked me. Tianmian Jinjuan is looking for you, so be careful. If you can't win, run." At this moment, Chu Long, wounded, was rescued by Chu Xiu. He smiled confidently, reassuring her. "Master, don't worry." In the sky, Chi Mengdai faced the Black Soul. She told him, "Get lost." The Black Soul remained arrogant. He said, "I heard you're a heavenly fragrance body. Cultivating together with you could help me advance my cultivation level significantly. Dream Butterfly Immortal, there's no need to struggle anymore. Look what's behind me." Following his savage smile was a boneless puppet with 3 ghastly skulls. Around it emanated an aura of darkness and deathly chi. It absorbed the souls and bodies of everyone below, fueling its own power. Everyone stared wide-eyed dead. Chi Mengdai frowned at it. It's the extermination sentence. You've already activated the blood sacrifice grand formation. 3 skulls wandered everywhere, sucking the life out of every single person. Shrieks of, "No! I don't want to die!" echoed endlessly in the capital city. Seeing his son slowly fading away, the father cried out in horror. "My son!" Chi Mingdia's face grew serious as she prepared to cast the spell downwards. Someone said they came to help her deal with the Heihun. Looking to the side, she noticed a person wearing armor approaching. That was the majestic and valiant Jinbei Wang. In his hand, he held a long spear, emitting powerful red lightning bolts. She flew to him and asked if Chu Xiu was alright. Northern King Jun calmly replied that His Holiness the Saint's son wished to hold back true monarch Tianyan. They agreed to quickly deal with the Black Soul first. The Black Soul's face showed worry. "Tianyan, that stupid name, yet you still couldn't kill him." Chi Mengdai and Zhou Long charged at him, weapons raised. Zhou Long's voice boomed, "Black Soul, you and Tianyan have wreaked havoc upon the mortal realm, and now you seek to awaken the destroyer, to unravel the world. You defy the heavenly Tao. Today is your death." Black Soul, terrified, fled. Sharp ice shards surrounded Chi Mengdai. The Dark Soul couldn't dodge, being hit by these stones. Its body gradually froze. It glared and cursed, "Damn it, Chi Mengdai, release me immediately." The Azure Dragon lunged forward, his hands crackling with lightning. Then, it struck the Black Soul. He convulsed in pain, his body jolting in the air. He lost, falling straight down. Chu Long retrieved his weapon. They had to quickly go and assist Xingzi. Chi Mengdai also felt worried. She used her magic to observe the battle situation on the other side. The heretic was at the bitterness level. Could they withstand the great sage's attack? Outside the Jinbei King's residence, Chu Xiu's shouts echoed. "Xiao Jingjuan, don't run!" He excitedly followed him with his sword. Tianmian Jingjuan had revealed his true form, battered and bruised, his clothes torn and his face pale and haggard. Panic-stricken, he ran while looking back. "You damn pervert, if you're so good, don't chase me. If you keep chasing me, I'll jump off." Tianmian Jingjuan burst through the doors and leaped outside. The crowd below looked up. He fell face down onto the ground, his body still. Everyone gathered around to see. This was the Tianmian true monarch. Isn't Tianmian Jingjuan a grand saint? What happened? How come he's in such a sorry state? Suddenly, they noticed a person. Though I'm still covered in wounds, the image of So Hu, sword on his shoulder, standing proudly on the rooftop, proves everything. He's the saint son of the great ancestor, So Hu, His Highness. Everyone looked at him in awe. Could it be that sovereign Su who had reduced the heavenly countenance true monarch to this state? The saint's son is truly awesome. Seeing Chu Xiu safe, she was also temporarily relieved. This rebellious disciple actually forced a great sage to such a miserable state. He truly lived up to his reputation. Chu Xiu leaped from the rooftop, his sword flashing. "Tian Mian, I will send you on your way," he declared. Tian Mian looked up in a panic. Just as the sword tip neared the head of Tianmian Jingjuan, 3 skeletal figures appeared before him. The two collided, producing a clanging sound, and the air filled with the crimson hue of death. The ordinary people knelt down, unable to withstand this power. This is the breath of the ancient emperor. Su Xiu attacked even more frantically. You've only been touched by a bit of the spiritual energy of the Yu Emperor's aura. Even if the Yu Emperor himself descended, what then? I, Su Xiu, will not kneel. No one in this world can force me to kneel. Tianmian Jingjuan cackled, the combination of the sound and his twisted, deformed face making him appear even more repulsive. Su Xiu, I admit your methods are heaven-defying, but you cannot kill me. With the support of Miran Pan, not only can you not kill me, but none of you present can either. Tai Su Zi, with a radiant golden halo, appeared just in time to interrupt him. This venerable one shall see to your demise. Her cold gaze swept downwards, as if looking at an insect. Chu Xiu grew even more confident. Elder Mo was truly efficient. The restrictions had just disappeared, and he had already brought Tai Su Zi here. Tianmian Jingjuan gaped at her. Beside him, another voice joined the fray. Taisu, why are you bullying someone smaller than you? With a crash, a gigantic ape demon landed on the roof. Tai Suzi looked at it mockingly. Jin Yuan, your demon race truly has quite the temperament, coming to the human race's territory to slaughter my people, refine the world annihilation Brahma, and yet you dare accuse this venerable one of bullying the weak? Jin Yuan did not argue. We are in the wrong in this matter. Name your price. What will it take for you to spare this white fox? Chu Xiu stood there and replied. Tian Mianjinjuan has been defeated by me. I want his storage ring and a Brahma golden lotus. I, Chu Xiu, do not work for free. Jin Yuan frowned. Forget the storage ring, damn it, they even want heavenly and earthly treasures. Do they really think our demon race is that wealthy? Tai Suzi also reminded him, don't forget, you still owe this deity 3 types of heaven and earth formations. Jin Yuan conceded, fine, this deity agrees with you. It's just that the golden lotus of cleansing fire grows within the primordial mist swamp, it's very hard to find. Give this deity 3 days, 3 days later it'll bring them along with the previous ones. The grand ancestor pointed at the skull tree. I will seal this demonic energy for 300 years, to be handed over to the deceased. Jin Yuan, take the fox demon away from here, don't let him wreak havoc in the mortal realm anymore. Jin Yuan grabbed the heavenly-faced true monarch, who was as tattered as a sheet of paper. Leaving behind a single sentence, he flew away. Tai Suzi, you are truly heartless. The capital city, Shangjing, was ablaze with lanterns illuminating every corner. The people in the tavern were excitedly discussing. The Holy Son, Your Highness, is truly formidable. You must know that he is only at the Bingen realm. The great ancestor truly lives up to his name as the final hegemonic force of the Dilak era. 3,000 years ago, the appearance of the Taisuzi was almost invincible. 3,000 years later, there is another terrifying demon like Suhu. How could this fortune not be admired by others? This Suhu might just be the next Taisuzi, right? Suho sat in the corner, listening to them discuss, saying nothing, only calmly drinking tea. In the back hall of the Grand Marshal's mansion, Hua Fei asked Qimeng Dai, who sat across from her, where did your disciple go? She crossed her arms and replied, who knows where he went again. Do you need to find him for something? I can help you call him back. Hua Luofei continued. Didn't you say you wanted to go out for some fresh air? Why are you in Shangjing? I suspect you're secretly protecting your precious disciple, aren't you? Qimeng Dai adamantly denied. I'm not. Don't spout nonsense. I just happened to be passing by and stumbled upon the demon race performing a blood sacrifice. Hua Luofei didn't argue with her. Right, you're absolutely right. This time, it was Qimeng Dai's turn to ask. Aren't you going back to the Holy Land? Hua Luofei said that he had nothing to do if he returned, so he might as well wander around here. Qimeng Dai was a little surprised. Seeing Hua Luofei, thinking that she didn't welcome him, Qimeng Dai hurriedly laughed awkwardly and excused herself. Welcome, of course I welcome you. Chu Xiu arrived. The two girls simultaneously turned to look. Hua Luofei stepped forward and asked him first. So Xiu, are you back? He happily chatted with her. Hua elder sister, why are you in the capital? Since that's the case, he even intimately held her hand. Why are you still so agitated? Good older sister, I would like to invite you to tea. Qimeng Dai looked at the two of them in astonishment. When did they get to know each other? Hua Luofei reminded him awkwardly. Your master is still looking at you. At this moment, Chu Xiu turned to look at her. Shizhuan, this disciple has invited Sister Hua to have some tea. Would you like to come along? She sullenly refused. I'm too tired today. I'm not going anywhere. So he just took Hua Luofei's hand and left. All right, then rest. Qimeng Dai's face darkened, his hands clenching into fists. You scoundrel, you dare lay a hand on the Holy Master. Hua Luofei, you're truly remarkable, you wouldn't even spare my disciple. Chu Xiu and Hua Luofei held hands as they strolled outside. At a stall, he picked up a hairpin and said it would suit her very well. She blushed and told him to stop joking, saying Master was looking. It would be so embarrassing if my best friend saw this, she'd think I'm an old cow chewing on young grass. So who said it was okay? They didn't do anything that would break the rules of heaven or harm people. The master wouldn't say anything. His eyes glanced at the girl hiding in the distance. Shizhuan had been following him all this time. Did she want to play a game? Qimeng Dai stood in a corner, fuming. You have some nerve, you impudent fool. Do you even know who Hua Luofei is? He probably doesn't. If he knew Luofei was the Holy Master, even with the guts of a god, he wouldn't dare lay a finger on him. Why did she feel uncomfortable seeing that scoundrel with Luofei? Could it be? She frowned. Impossible, how could this venerable be jealous of a mere disciple? Absolutely not. Qimeng Dai stormed out. It's all because of that damn Lak Fai. Yes, I'll bear the burden of being bullied by my own disciple. Ahead, a little girl holding a basket of beautiful flowers invited Suahu to buy some and give them to Hua Luofei. He took a flower and pinned it to her hair, praising. Sister, you are truly beautiful. This is what they call being more proud than a flower. Hua Luofei blushed, saying, You have a silver tongue. Qi Mengdai, standing nearby, was green with envy. Such atrocious words, he actually dared to say them. Why had he never said such things to this deity before? It seems his aptitude had not yet risen, he had not yet grasped this principle. Hua Luofei and Chu Xiu entered a tea house. Hua Luofei glanced at Qi Mengdai and transmitted her voice, Mengdai, don't misunderstand, we only call each other sisters. Why don't you go back? With me here, who in this world can hurt him? Qi Mengdai was even angrier after hearing that. Was that an explanation? Calling each other sisters, holding hands, putting arms around each other's waists, and strolling together. This damn brat, if she knew this would happen, she would have found a chance to slap him to death. Seeing Qi Mengdai not answering, Hua Luofei sent another voice transmission to ask. At this moment, she finally came to her senses. I'm fine. We're good sisters. Of course I trust you. You guys go ahead and have fun. I'm going back. Although she said so, she quietly sat down in a corner of the tea house. Should I go just because you told me to? I want to see what these two sisters are really up to. Suo Hu and Hua Luofei sat down at the table. He lifted his teacup and offered her a drink. She told him not to just pour for her, but to drink some himself. The two of them leaned against each other. She closed her eyes and enjoyed the moment. He looked at the beautiful scenery outside. His hand supported her, he whispered. Sister, you went through so much to come all the way to Shangjing. It's been so tiring. Relax a bit today. All right. She turned, her lips brushing against his. He called her name sweetly. Hua Luofei responded coquettishly. Through the veil, Qi Mengdai saw this scene and her fist clenched in anger. That scoundrel's hand was touching where? Over here. I could also sense something strange about Shizwen. What's wrong with her? It felt like she was very agitated and restless. In a nearby place, someone stood holding a gong, shouting loudly. Pass by and stop by, don't miss it. The auction with the highest content in decades of Shangjing City is about to open. Everyone, look, these are all treasures in the auction. A man brought out a huge, azure glass sphere. Moments later, it projected an image of the shattered stone mirror. Standing at the tea house, Chu Xiu also saw this. Hua Luofei praised. Not bad. This fist-sized piece of starfall iron essence is worth no less than 300,000 divine source stones. He stared at it. This New Year's snack on the bronze table, along with the bronze fragments, perfectly matches the aura of the innate sword embryo. It must be obtained. Seeing his joyful expression, Hua Luofei asked. Is there a treasure you need at the auction? Suo Xiu gently kissed her arm. Hua Jie is truly my lucky star. Qi Mengdai saw this and was furious, she even snorted. Chu Xiu held Hua Luofei's hand and suggested, If you are free tomorrow, sister, let's go to the auction together. She agreed. Two people went out together. Chu Xiu said he would take her to a movie. Hua Luofei was curious, what is a movie? He mysteriously said that she would find out later. Seeing Qi Mengdai standing at a stall, he asked, What is Shizwen doing? She forced a smile and said, The teacups in the house are broken, I'll go buy some. Hua Luofei chatted with her. Isn't this kind of small matter something you can just have your disciples take care of? Why does the Yunhao Feng master need to do it herself? Qi Mengdai glanced at her. So what? When you're playing with toys and I'm not here, you call me Mengdai. When you're playing with toys and I am here, you call me Yunhao Feng master. Seeing the tense atmosphere, Chu Xiu sought a way to slip out. He said he was going to buy some drinks for them and asked them to wait a moment. He then quickly ran away like a puff of smoke. Now, Hua Luofei spoke seriously to Qi Mengdai. Chu Xiu doesn't know my identity. Currently, I'm just an elder of Yufeng Dao. Don't reveal it, or it will be very awkward. Qi Mengdai folded her arms and questioned. Hold on, let's not talk about anything else. Why are you so close to Suo? You are the holy master, be mindful of your status, don't lose face. Hua Luofei responded. He doesn't know my identity, don't misunderstand. Suo and I are innocent. He insists on calling me sister, I can't help it. Qi Mengdai asked slyly. Are you sisters holding hands, or are you sisters embracing intimately? Hua Luofei only realized now, could it be that her master was jealous? She shouldn't be like this. He was her disciple, and besides, she was already pregnant. Qi Mengdai immediately denied it. What are you thinking? How could I be jealous? I just feel that the two of you aren't interested in learning. Hua Luofei generously said, Don't worry, he once said that New Lu Sanqian was ostracized by the celestial beings, and didn't I disagree? Qi Mengdai was very surprised. What? He actually told you that? Seeing his gloomy face, Hua Luofei turned to comfort him. She stood up excitedly. So what if he and I are in a relationship? We're all cultivators, age doesn't matter. He's unmarried, I'm unmarried, what's the problem? Chi Mengdai said angrily. Hua La Fei has changed. I consider you a close friend, but you want to be my disciple's wife. Just at that moment, Chu Xiu returned with drinks. He had bought 2 cups of Gui Hua Lu from the capital's finest shop. The two of them took a sip to cool down. The 2 girls took it. Hua Luofei was still cheerful. Since we've met Yin Xia Peak Master, let's all 3 of us go watch a movie. He readily agreed, secretly delighted. Sister Hua truly understands me, he thought. What a good sister she is. He dragged Chi Mengdai along with one hand. His other hand caressed Hua Luofei's body. He's got his feet in 2 boats. He's won the hearts of 2 beauties. Our protagonist sure knows how to live. A tea house hosted a stage play. The audience watched with rapt attention. Among them was Chu Xiu's group. Hua Luofei and Chi Mengdai sat to his left and right, respectively. What a coincidence. This play is about Tai Su Zi's travels and cultivation when she was a saintess. I wonder how Hua Jie feels hearing this story from back then. The child sitting near him pointed to the stage and asked his mother, Muqin, is the Taisu Shen of the Taisu Xingzhu? His mother gently replied, it is the celestial maiden in the sky yesterday. Hearing that, he excitedly said later, I also want to be as strong as a celestial maiden. That way, I can protect Muqin. Sua Xiu also commented, the Xingzhu back then was truly invincible. Chi Mengdai glanced over. The rebellious son surely didn't know the holy master he was talking about was right here? Chu Xiu sat with one leg crossed over the other and said, I feel like this kind of shadow play can't really be considered cinema. Hua Luofei asked, confused, why is that? He explained to her, on distant land Tin, cinema is also known as moving pictures or motion pictures. Clearly, the scenes recorded by the image-retaining stone are much closer to cinema. Hua Luofei found it very fresh. This definition you spoke of, I've never heard of it in the Great Heaven continent. Sua Xiu said it in a more understandable way, it's like taking the story of the Holy Lord and rewriting it, then having someone else play the role, acting according to the plot and the story, using the light image crystal to record it, and finally projecting it out. Isn't this more interesting and fun than the lamp play? Chi Mengdai suddenly thought of something and her face turned red, her eyes widening. She was heartbroken, remembering how Soyu had used a crystal projection to threaten her with exposing their past intimacy. Hua Luofei praised, that is a brilliant idea, truly worth a try. Chu Xiu accepted her compliment with a smug smile. A voice suddenly interrupted them, Brother Chu, you are truly brilliant. A young man with fiery red hair approached and greeted them. He said he hadn't meant to eavesdrop, but he just happened to overhear and felt that Chu Xiu's idea was truly brilliant. He couldn't help but express his admiration and asked for understanding. Chu Xiu asked him who he was. He introduced himself as Yi Hongyu, and asked if Brother Chu perhaps knew of the Yi family of Zhongzhou. Chu Xiu changed his demeanor, standing up with a friendly air. So, it's the young master of the ancient Yi family. What business do you have with me? This person's cultivation is not low, already at the divine ability realm. Yi Hongyu whispered. Brother Su, can you tell me more about this project? I feel like we could make a lot of money. Su Hu also laughed cunningly. Are you really interested, Brother Yi? Yi Hongyu made an offer. Of course, we can work together to make money. You just need to come up with a plan, and you can take 30% of the profits. How about that? 2 people quickly became friendly and sat down at a table to sign an agreement. The 2 girls watched, completely clueless. What were they signing? It all seemed very mysterious. They returned to the Tai Su Shiguan at dusk. Suo, who still sweetly called her senior sister. Chi Mengdai angrily transmitted her voice to him. Naughty disciple, what are you doing? Return to this seat immediately. Alright, then you should get some rest too. Hua Luofei blushed and left, her mind racing. If she was truly like that with Su Xiu, then how should she address Meng Dai? Meng Dai? Or Shizun? Oh, so embarrassing. Entering the room, Chi Mengdai set up a soundproof barrier. You have quite the nerve, provoking an elder from another mountain. Still remember sharing candied hawthorns? He grinned mischievously, producing a stick of the sweet treat. Actually, I bought one for you too, I just didn't give it to you then. You wouldn't want Hua Jiejie to find out about us, would you? Holding a candied hawthorn stick, Chi Mengdai feigned ignorance. What relationship do we have? Aren't this venerable one and you in a pure teacher-disciple relationship? Moreover, rebellious disciple, you even call her Hua Jiejie, so intimately. She ate as she spoke. Don't think this is over. You even gave her flowers, saying something like she is more beautiful than flowers. She stopped, her eyes wide with surprise at the new arrival. So Shio held a flower in his hand, bringing it up to her face. Actually, he really wanted to give the flower to his master, to see if it resembled the sunset of the sun star on the horizon, beautiful and captivating. Mangdai blushed and said nothing, only silently gazing at the flower. It's a pity it's still not pretty enough, it's several times less beautiful than my beloved Shurzwin. She snorted, stop making others feel sick. He chuckled. My woman is beautiful. It's only natural to compliment her. Others are envious, why would you feel disgusted? She snapped back. You're being impertinent. Don't even think about trying to deceive me. Tell me the truth, what is your relationship with Elderhua? Su-hu chuckled mischievously at her. Master, tell me the truth. Are you jealous? Her tail stepped on. Mangdai's voice rose sharply, completely different from usual. Ridiculous. How could I be jealous of you? I am your master. It's natural for me to manage you, he whispered to her. Will you agree with me? You are both my wings, why fight each other? His answer was a slap in the face. Mangdai was furious. You shameless wretch! It seems you've had no progress in your cultivation recently, and have too much energy to spare. She held a whip in her hand. I warn you, don't make trouble. I'm your Shifu, can I control you? Suashio looked at her in shock, the smile on his lips becoming twisted. She drew out her whip. Her face was cold and dangerous. Soshio sensed the danger and shouted. Mingdia, if you have the guts, don't use your pressure to suppress me. Huajiajia will hear this. Mingdia's words crushed his hope. It's okay, there are soundproofing restrictions, even if you scream your head off, no one will come to save you. Soshio could only cry out in pain. Mangdai, please be gentle with me. The next morning, Mangdai stepped out of the door. Today, her mood was excellent, humming a tune as she walked. Hualuofei smiled and asked, Mangdai, have you taken some precious medicine? Your complexion is truly excellent. She shyly touched her face. Is that so? Maybe my cultivation has improved. Hualuofei covered his mouth and chuckled. Your cultivation has been progressing rapidly lately. I can feel your breath, you're about to break through to the 5th stage of Great Saint soon. Great Saint Realm is all about enlightenment. It seems that leaving the Holy Land has helped stabilize your mental state. Not bad, not bad. Mangdai pondered. It was all thanks to the 8 trigrams cooperative cultivation technique of that rebellious disciple. It was impossible to deny that it had been a huge help in his understanding of heaven and earth. Now, Hualuofei asked about him. Where is Chu Xiu? Is he still in closed-door cultivation? Mangdai vaguely replied. Perhaps. He stayed up all night. That rascal is probably so tired that he hasn't woken up yet. She reached out and took Hualuofei's hand. Why didn't you come back? Were you worried? Hualuofei admitted, although it was said that Chu Xiu used a curse to break the primordial saint physique, making it impossible to cultivate, that was only the first obstacle. You've read the ancient texts about the saintly body, right? Mangdai is worried too. The day of the small city is the day of the greatest disaster for the saintly body. Heaven forbid, if another ancient saintly body is born, it will bring down a terrifying tribulation. If it cannot be overcome, death is certain. Hualuofei added, wait for the demon race's grand formation to arrive, his saintly body is about to reach minor completion. Hearing this, Mangdai was frightened. What are you planning to do? Don't do anything foolish, Hualuofei said solemnly. Maybe I can save him at the critical moment. Chu Xiu arrived at the treasure-gathering pavilion. A long line of people queued here. He picked up a piece of paper and looked at it. He had originally wanted to come here with his Shurzwin and Huajiajia, but there was no other way, as they were at the embassy. He was a kind-looking old man. He wore a golden crown. There was a coin image on his belt. The young man bowed in gratitude. The one below grumbled. What right does he have to not queue up? The girl beside him said. If you were also a saint's son, you wouldn't have to queue up either. You're young, no wonder you're a peerless expert nurtured by the Tai Su Holy Land. Inside the room, Dong Tian excused himself. Holy Son, the auction is about to begin. Please wait here, I'll have a servant bring you spiritual tea and fruits. He waved his hand. Elder Dong, please go attend to your matters. There's no need to mind me. The beautiful girls brought in the dishes one after another. His Royal Highness, the Saint's son, invited them to have tea. In another room, Elder Dong Tian was receiving a different guest. What did you say? Room number 1 is not available? My elder brother Zhu Yi is about to become the Saint's son of the Tai Di Holy Land. Who is the shameless one who stole my position? Dong Tian Elder explained to him. Master Zhu Yu, the saint son of the Tai Su, is in room 1. Zhu Yu became even more arrogant and shouted. So what if he's the holy son of Tai Su? Isn't he just at the Bainan stage? Are we, the Tai Holy Land, afraid of him? Tell him to give up his spot, now. So Xiao walked by and happened to witness this scene. Yi Hongyu walked over and sneered. I wondered who had such a big temper, so it was you, brat. What are you so proud of? You think having a powerful big brother makes you so great? Zhu Yu pointed at his face. Be respectful. In response, he delivered a flying punch. The wall he crashed into cracked, showing just how hard Yi Hongyu had hit. He told Dong Tian, the elder. Room number 2, don't let this brat bother Senior Su. Otherwise, if Senior Su gets angry, he'll definitely die. Dong Tian politely invited him in. Inside the room, Chu Xiu cupped his hands and said, Many thanks, Yi Xiong, for helping me out. Yi Hongyu waved his hand. Chu Xiong, you are too polite. The crowd outside whispered amongst themselves. Could that young master in red be the third young master of the ancient Huangyi family? Judging by his tone, his relationship with the Taisu Holy Son is far from ordinary. Could it be that the Taisu Holy Land and the Yi family have? On the platform, a beautiful red-haired girl stepped out. Welcome, esteemed guests, to Jubao Lu. I am the host of this auction. In my hand is the first auction item. This silk armor is made from the spiritual energy of the world, formed naturally over billions of years of wind and rain. After wearing it, all poisons cannot penetrate, and swords and spears cannot harm. Fellow cultivators, place your bids. Chu Xiu raised his sign. 100,000 spirit stones. He decided to start with this price to test the waters and see what kind of competition he was up against. Following him, Jiu arrogantly declared, 1,000,000 divine essence stones. Just 100,000 divine essence stones. The sacred land of Tai Su is nothing more than that. The host continued, the second item is the Lan Xian Chao. Using this immortal herb, your cultivation speed can increase 50-fold. Chu Xiu raised his sign again. 200,000 spirit stones. Chiyu immediately bid 2,000,000 shenyuanshi. Someone dared to snatch my room number 1? Today, it'll make you lose face. The crowd below murmured and whispered. Who is in room 2? Is he openly challenging the saint son of Tai Su? It's Yu Yu of the Tai Holy Land. This guy wanted to steal the room from the saint son of Tai Su from the beginning. Just a second-generation ancestor, not worth mentioning. The auctioneer introduced the next item. As you can see, this is a piece of primordial metal. The round bronze table beneath it is unknown in its use, but its material is extraordinary, extremely tough, likely an extraordinary item. Let's proceed with the auction. The crowd was bidding fiercely. 5,001. 5,000 spirit stones. 5,002. 5,005. So Xiu raised the sign, 120,000. Turning around, he saw Chuyu raise his hand, bidding 10 times his offer. 1.2 million. The defect on that bronze disc was identical to the bronze fragment his grandfather had entrusted to him before his death. It must have a significant origin. So Hu turned around and said, 1.3 million. Everything else can be given to the second-generation ancestor, but this bronze fragment is not negotiable. Ji frowned. 1.4 million. He was still trying to outbid me. Go ahead, keep raising the price if you dare. Su Hu offered 2 million. The 3 million came from Tian Mian Jinjuan, with 1 million used to purchase the highest quality materials for refining the Guiyuan, and this 2 million is all of his fortune. Chiyu vowed to fight to the end. 201 million divine origin stones. This was all the divine origin stones he had taken from his master, and he would be scolded when he returned. But for the round bronze table, it was all worth it. The auctioneer asked, 2,101,000 spirit stones. Any higher bids? So Hu remained silent. Several people immediately laughed, enjoying the show. Would Tai Su's saint son not bid any further? Taidi's holy land wasn't easy to provoke. Chuyu had truly offended Tai Su's saint son this time. The auctioneer declared. Congratulations to Master Chuyu for purchasing the everlasting star Iron Mother, and the bronze round table for the price of 201 divine yuan stones. Chuyu happily stood up. Let's go get the items now. His attendant hesitated, but the auction still had an hour left. He didn't care. The value of the other auction items wasn't great, there was no need to stay here any longer. Chu Xiu also stood up. I have some business to attend to, Yi Xiong, please make yourself comfortable. Yi Hongyu cheerfully said, need any help? Don't look at me like that, I'm actually quite good at fighting. He declined, thank you, I can handle this myself. Zhu Yu and his entourage boarded the boat and departed from Ju Baolu. He was very happy. Looking at the attitude of Suhu towards the bronze round table, it's possible that he also had a piece of bronze in his hand. More trouble is better than less trouble. Before the auction is over, the best choice is to withdraw. But right after, Chu Xiu's voice resounded. Patriarch Chu Xiu wishes to borrow an item from young Master Zhu Yu. Would you give Chu Mao this face? Zhu Yu turned around in surprise. Chu Yu was facing Chu Xiu and Mo Fian. He had truly caught up. The attendant argued with them. The auction is all about the highest bidder, so why does Suhu, the Holy Son, need to bully people here and block our way? Suhu acted innocently. Bully? I just want to borrow an item from your young master. Why do you have to be so harsh? Of course, Chu Yu didn't believe him. If I lend it to you, it would be a miracle to get it back. The servant continued. Chu Su Xingzi acting like this, how is it any different from a bandit? He brushed his hand dismissively. Not only did you refuse me face, but you also called me a bandit? Chu Xiu held his sword, feigning coercion. You all are truly going too far. He turned back and said to Mo Feiyan. Mo Elder, please keep that little saint busy. I'll handle the rest. Mo Feiyan agreed, reminding him to be careful. Then, she brandished her sword and charged forward. Chu Yu opened his eyes wide in shock. He never expected Suo Xiu to be so decisive, striking without warning, giving him no chance to say a word. His servant grabbed the jade pendant, turning his head and saying to him, Chu Yu, I'll deal with that woman, you be careful. He held the token, chanting an incantation to create a dazzling golden yin-yang formation diagram. Chu Yu stepped forward, and Su Xiu used Xingzi Bai to appear before him. Both sides unleashed their techniques. Lan Dian Huang Diao, Huan Duan Zhong Qinglian. A blue bird clashed with a purple lotus. They clashed, boom, a deafening explosion echoed across the sky. I didn't want to fight you, but you were too disrespectful. Chu Yu felt a murderous presence behind him. It was Chu Xiu, his face a mask of cold fury. He slashed at his neck. Zhu Yu turned purple. Fresh blood flowed out. Chu Yu was stunned. He fell into the lake, splashing water everywhere. Zhu Yu's body floated on the water's surface. Chu Xiu's aura hadn't yet subsided. He coldly sheathed his sword, his gaze fixed on him. His lips curled slightly, a sign that everything was going according to plan. Chu Yu's corpse was pulled up, and another person appeared. Suo Xiu, the saint's son, should have kept a path. Why did he have to be so ruthless? He looked at the person standing across the lake. Who are you? She was a beautiful young woman, dressed in blue from head to toe. Zhu Yu was pulled ashore. He was still alive, soaked to the bone. Many thanks to Ji Yaoi for her assistance. The sword aura stirred, and Suahu asked, People from the Jia family? Ji Yaoi said, I wonder if Saint Sun Chu Xiu could give me some face and spare Zhu Yu's life? He soared into the sky. If the beauty pleads, I am not one to be unmoved. As long as Zhu Yu surrenders that thing, I can spare his life. She said the item was bought by Zhu Yu properly, so you're being too much of a bully. His attitude changed immediately. If you insist on protecting him, then you all die together. No matter the cost, we must get the bronze round table today. Jiao Yao is no pushover either. Sure Hu, you're so domineering. Are you trying to start a war between the Taisu and the Ji family? The rumors said the Taisu Holy Son was humble, but I didn't expect him to be so ruthless. Chu Xiu charged forward, his eyes blazing with a terrifying light, red lightning flickering around him like a vengeful god. Ji Yaoi thought, so fast. He choked her. Ji Yaoyi's face was serious, devoid of any humor. Frowning, she commanded, Take your hand off me. Chu Yu looked up, fear in his eyes. In a blink of an eye, the body of the female cultivator dissipated into nothingness. And then, poof! He was gone. Then, she appeared again, using a rope to tie him up. Chu Xiu swiftly evaded the attack and counterattacked. Ko Dao Wai, wounded, lay still on the wooden boat. He said he was a man who cherished beauty, that she had forced him to act. Cao Yao Wai blushed and cursed. You crazy bastard! Another person appeared. Saint Sun, please calm down. A rather young-looking old man with a long beard said to him. Old man here apologizes on behalf of the second young miss, so Hugh Saint Sun. We shouldn't meddle in other people's business. Ji Yaoi called this person Mo Lao. Chu Xiu was quite surprised. Mo Lao, whom Ji Yaoi mentioned, was a great saint, yet he apologized so decisively. If great sage has already pleaded, then I have nothing more to say. Take this righteous little girl and go. Shizun Baobao and Hua Jijia are not by her side. With no one to back her up, she cannot afford to be arrogant. If others show you respect, you should humble yourself quickly. Mo Lao cast a spell, and a spatial vortex appeared behind him. He pulled Ko Dao Wai's hand and thanked the Holy Son for his grace. Code Dao Y was still very stubborn. Mo Lao, why do you have to apologize to him? Are you afraid of him? Ma Lao reminded her. Second Miss, speak less. This is the Nam Vuk, the territory of the Tai Su's sacred land. It's not easy for us to make a move here. It's better to let it slide. Then, they both entered the space and left. Seeing that Suo who stared at her like a fierce demon, Zhu Yu trembled and immediately changed her attitude. He clasped his hands together and cowed out repeatedly, begging for mercy. Big brother, please have mercy on me, spare my life. Consider me a fart and let me go. My older brother brought you the items. Can you spare my life? Please say something. I beg you. Your silence scares me, Su He replied. Then hurry up and bring it out, but whether you live or die depends on my mood. Zhu Yu trembled as he took out the bronze piece from his body. He thought to himself, Zhu Yu, a man of great wisdom, has finally been defeated. Chu Xiu took it, but he seemed dissatisfied. He demanded more from him. Knowing he was losing the argument, Zhu Yu stammered, No, let me look. Then he obediently raised both hands, offering the item. You need this, right? You're right, you're quite perceptive. A Xiantian embryo, as expected, in his possession. I wasn't wrong, this is a huge gain. Chu Yu fearfully said, Dage, I have given you everything. Can you spare me now? He placed the sword against his neck. No! Chu Yu shouted. Why not? Suo Xiu, don't go too far. He smirked. Kill the weeds but not the roots, and the spring wind will bring them back. That's why people like to kill the weeds right at the roots. As the sword descended, Zhu Yu could only cry out, Fuqin, Muqin, forgive this unfilial child. Avenge me. Just as the sword was about to strike Chu Yu, a flash of green light appeared. Chu Yu's elder brother, Chu Yi, yawned and appeared. Chu Yu stopped crying and exclaimed with joy, Brother, you're finally here. With a friendly smile, Zhou Yi said to Chu Xiu, Chu Xiong, for my sake, spare his life. Chu Xiu also smiled as he sheathed his sword. I thought you would continue watching. Seeing his brother agree, Chu Yi turned and kicked Chu Yu in the rear. Get home quickly, you disgrace. Chu Yu crawled away miserably. Can't you be a little gentler? Don't move around. I'm resetting your bones. At this moment, Chu Su finally asked, Chu Xiong, I beat your younger brother to this state, don't you plan to avenge him? Chu Yi appeared unconcerned. Chu Xiong, you are too serious. It is his fault for being so incompetent. He deserves it even if he is beaten to death. Without another word, he leaped onto his sword. Farewell. The Chu brothers vanished into the lake. Suo Xiu also left on his sword. He was tired today, but the harvest was not small. He felt content and stopped. The familiar boat soared through the air. Suo Xiu lay in Mo Fei Yan's arms, his eyes closed. Thank you, Mo Elder, for your help today. She massaged his head. Xingzi Dianxia, you are acting strangely. Escorting you and protecting you are my duties. Mo Fian's face flushed, her eyes fixated on the figure below. But there's something I don't understand. Why didn't your highness kill Yu? Are you not afraid of him seeking revenge later? Suo Xiu leaned to the side, confidently speaking. He might have beaten me once, but he can be beaten twice. Why should I fear him? I will just push him further away, until he can't even see my shadow. By then, even if he wants revenge, he will be powerless. He turned to her with a flirtatious glance. Elder Mo, Master isn't here. How about you come to my room tonight? We can discuss cultivation matters. Ma Feiyan stammered. Your Highness, surely you're just discussing cultivation matters. What else could it possibly be? He turned around. Facing her. What now? Mo Fian blushed, unable to meet his gaze. Your Highness, please don't. If Xingzhu and Yunhe Fengzhu find out, what am I supposed to do? His seductive voice drew closer. Then don't let them know. The two of them spent a passionate night together. The northern wasteland Holy Land's Yaoqi Pond was nestled amidst a celestial dreamscape. Surrounded by mountains and rivers, vibrant flowers bloomed in dazzling splendor. Four women sat around a long table. Qi Mengdai spoke first. We're all here today, so let's get straight to the point. The Daoqi Palace wants to bring the legendary physique back to the mortal realm. Everyone in the Tiankong continent knows that our Tai Su Saint Son is the key. Sacred Maiden Yao Qi, Feng Yao said, but Chu Xiu still hasn't reached minor success. Qi Mengdai was annoyed. You want something for nothing, just waiting for peaches to fall in your laps? How naive. If the Xingzi was already in the small town, why would we need you? Tai Suzi continued. This deity has consulted ancient texts and made a calculation. The conclusion is, on the day your holy body reaches its peak, Suo Xiu will face a great calamity. He will not survive. Even if he does, he will be gravely injured. His original celestial body will not last a year. At that time, a primordial celestial body will surely assist Suoshio, and everything will be turned around. Feng Dao was silent for a while, hesitating. This, Tai Suzi expressed his friendly attitude. This time we are here, hoping that the Dao Qi Saintess can cultivate together with Suoshio, to help him transcend the tribulation. Dao Qi Xingzhu asked, Tai Suzi, can you guarantee that Suoshio will survive this great tribulation? Tai Suzi was very confident. This is nothing you need to worry about. If the Xingzi successfully transcends the tribulation, the Dao Qi will gain a Tai Su Xingzi as their son-in-law, and the legendary physique will reappear in the mortal world. If the Xingzi fails to transcend the tribulation, it will be our Tai Su Xinggi that loses a Xingzi. What loss is it to the Dao Qi? The Holy Lord turned to Feng Dao and asked. What are your thoughts? Feng Dao blushed, replying. Whether for the sacred grounds or for master, I have no other choice. I agree. The four remained silent for a moment. Qi Mengdai was furious. Damn it, that little rascal got lucky again. Such a cute little sister, he defiled her. Why am I a heavenly fragrance body, and not a Tian Dao body? Getting bullied by a rebellious disciple is more than enough. The more she thought about it, the angrier she got. No, why did she think that way? Let that mischievous brat die. The Holy Master said, Tai Suzi, let's discuss the relevant matters. The women of our Yaoqi Holy Land do not marry outsiders. Qi Mengdai retorted, why? Do you expect our Tai Su Holy Land's holy son to marry into your sect? The Holy Master denied this. I certainly don't have such intentions. The two of you can become Dao companions, but each will reside in their own holy land. If a child with a legendary physique is born, it will belong to our Yaoqi to raise. Tai Suzi and Qi Mengdai spoke in unison. Deal, it's settled. As long as we can help Suoshio safely pass through his tribulation, everything else is insignificant. After a while, the two women left. The Dao Qi disciples escorted them out. Holy Master asked Feng Dao, are you dissatisfied with this master's decision? Feng Dao is a good girl. She said, disciples have no dissatisfaction. In the near future, heaven and earth will undergo a great change. Now Yaoqi Holy Land is becoming weaker and weaker. If a Dao fetus of the innate saint physique can be born, once it matures, Yaoqi will have nothing to worry about. The Holy Lord sighed. You have sacrificed for the Holy Land. Do you know that if you do this, your minor saint cultivation will be similar to Chu Shio's level? Feng Yao knew, but Chu Shio's foundation is profound. After dual cultivation, this disciple can restore a part of the great Dao foundation. For me, it is not entirely without benefit. Her face was filled with hope for the future. With the addition of that child, her cultivation would not stop there. Qi Mengdai has returned to the Taisu embassy. She quickly went to find Chu Shio. Where is that mischievous disciple? This venerable one has been painstakingly busy with his tribulation, and if he doesn't thank me, I'll definitely show him what's what. Upon arrival, she found the door slightly ajar. Emofian, drenched in sweat, stepped outside. She also said to Qi Mengdai, I did that to help the great saintly tribulation and the Holy Son. Master, don't blame His Highness, it's all my fault. I want to break through to the great completion now, I'll take my leave. Qi Mengdai, furious, strode inside. You wretched disciple, what have you done? Suoshio was panicked. Master, please let me explain. It's not. Listen to my explanation. Outside, thunder rumbled, rain poured, and wind howled. Qi Mengdai shouted, Wulian Si. I left for less than a day, and you're already with Elder Mo. Chu Shio knelt miserably. I and Elder Mo were only discussing cultivation matters. Master, why are you so jealous now? If I had known earlier, I would have gone into the forest with Elder Mo to discuss cultivation techniques. She pinched his ear. Your saint physique is about to reach minor completion. Have you prepared for the tribulation yet? Chu Shio cried out, ouch. Master, be gentler. Qi Mengdai withdrew her hand. 2 days later, the Holy Lord will arrange a grand formation outside the upper capital city to help you transcend the tribulation. In these next 2 days, adjust your condition well. Refrain from shameless acts, or if you die during the tribulation, it will be your own fault. Chu Shio rubbed his aching ear. Yes, I will obediently follow Master's instructions. 2 days later. 10,000 li from the upper capital city, Chu Shio prepared to face the tribulation lightning. He closed his eyes to cultivate his spirit, sitting at the center of the formation. Qi Mengdai transmitted her voice, and I do, are you ready? Chu Shio replied, don't worry. Mo Fian stood outside, worried. Your Highness, please be careful. Tai Suzi's eyes shone with golden light. She said, don't worry, I will protect you. I will pass on the Tai Su Di Jing Dao Gong Tian to you. With this emperor scripture, your chances of surviving the tribulation and ascending will greatly increase. Chu Xiu transmitted his voice. Thank you, Holy Master. Tai Suzi cast a spell, sending forth a golden ray of light. Chu Xiu accepted it. His eyes also lit up. System, bring up my personal control panel. Host status update. Chu Xiu, current realm, 6th level of the Other Shore realm. Overall combat power assessment, 35 times normal combat strength, bordering on the 8 forbidden domains. He took a colorful, glowing apple out of the box. Eat it and then speak. System, help me cultivate the Tao scriptures. The system detected that the host possesses the ancient holy body. Cultivating the Taoist scripture, breaking through the extreme realm divine bridge, requires a large amount of advancement energy. It's estimated that this breakthrough will take 5 days, consuming 500,000 breakthrough points each day. The terrifying thunder tribulation vortex, twisting through the heavens, slowly descended towards Soahu. Why was it the Tao Palace? It can be understood as a process of gestating a divine ability seed, a divine seed that can only be nurtured by a powerful life seed, and naturally, a higher quality divine ability seed can be nurtured by it. Therefore, the Taisu Di Jing will become the strongest Di Jing, recognizing the Tao Palace realm. He entered a cultivation state. Golden light continuously emanated from his eyes. Thousands upon thousands of golden characters appeared around Chu Xiu. He has completed the breakthrough, consuming a total of 2.5 million breakthrough points. Congratulations to the host for achieving the extreme realm of the Nirvana stage, activating the system's special reward. Because you broke through the extreme realm thunder tribulation will descend in 5 breaths. Lightning is approaching. The system chuckled as always. Host, please prepare yourself. The ancient text slowly faded away. Chu Xiu opened his eyes. With Hua Jiajia's help, the 10th level of the Netherworld Realm Extreme Challenge was easily completed. At this moment, a bolt of lightning split the sky and struck down upon where Suahu was. He lifted his head proudly, meeting it head-on. A deafening boom. A purple thunderbolt descended from the heavens. The sheer sound of it was enough to instill fear in the hearts of all who heard it. The lightning pillar exploded. Tiny bolts of lightning scattered everywhere. 3 girls watched from afar. Was the Saint Physique tribulation about to begin? This tribulation lightning is truly powerful. Kid, don't you dare die. At this moment, Suhu's clothes were blown away, and he strained to withstand the heavenly tribulation. The purple tribulation thunder was quite a sight. Many people had come to see it. The Ji family, father and daughter, were also present. Ji Yaoi asked her father whether the primordial saint child could successfully transcend the tribulation. He replied that if this boy's primordial saint physique could reach the minor completion stage, he would ascend to the heavens in a single step. It was a pity, however, that the heavens and earth would not allow it. This boy was destined not to live. Zhu Yu clenched his fists and cheered. Heavens have eyes. Strike him down with lightning. Brother, after Chu Xiu is dead, you must come with me to retrieve the treasure I bought. Chui thought differently. I'm afraid you won't have the chance. At the Yi family residence, Yi Hongyu anxiously clasped her hands in prayer. Brother Chu, I believe you definitely won't die. You must survive and return. The filming of the Great Sky Continent movie needs your guidance. Jin Yuan stood on the mountain, watching the play with great interest. The saint's tribulation was a matter of great importance. If she was about to fail, Tai Su Zi would definitely step in to help. With the great Tao rebelling against her, she would definitely be seriously injured, which would be a good opportunity for our demon race to defeat the human race. If we could take this opportunity to eliminate Tai Su Zi, the human race would be like losing an arm, no longer a threat to our demon race. An hour later, the light of dawn gradually broke through, dispelling the dark clouds. Yi Hongyu looked at her senior brother anxiously. Do your best, you are a real man. Chui remarked that although this continuous lightning tribulation was strong, its intensity was still far from the legendary Saint Body tribulation. It was still not the Saint Body tribulation, but only Chu Xiu's breakthrough tribulation. Chui was frightened. Good heavens, it was just a breakthrough tribulation, yet it was so powerful? Then how powerful would his Saint Body tribulation be? Moments later, another series of white lightning flashes appeared. Cao Yaowai looked up at the sky. The Saint Child tribulation was truly coming. So Hu's eyes still shone brightly, raising his head to meet the approaching storm. Chi Mengdai anxiously clenched her fists. Wretch, you better not die. At worst, this sovereign will just suppress you with my might later. Like a bolt of heavenly lightning descending to claim a man's life, the lightning ripped through the space and came forward, carrying immense power and pressure that no ordinary person could withstand. It swept through everything around, turning everything upside down. Suahu entered the Dao Palace. Before him stood a simple, 4-level wooden house. Dao palaces of cultivators are incredibly peculiar, each unique in its own way. You could say that a Dao palace is a reflection of the cultivator's inner self. Outside the house, a wooden rocking chair sat on the porch, and a chess set rested on a table. The scene was simple and familiar. I used to think time could erase everything, but it seems I was still too young. I never thought that after 100 years, my Dao palace would still look the same. A violent thunder dragon, its body covered in small lightning bolts like undulating thorns, advanced toward him. Chu Xiu seemed incredibly small compared to it. His body glowed, welcoming it all. 5 elements, 9 origins, I have actually conceived them all. This is defying the heavens. If I nurture all of these into form and then fuse them, what level of divine power seed will I obtain? Su Hu opened his eyes. His eyes had returned to their crimson color, yet they still glowed brightly. His face was filled with confidence. His lips curled into an arrogant smile. At the very least, a divine artifact, perhaps even reaching the legendary Emperor artifact. The demon horde grew restless. One called out, Jin Yuan Lauda, why haven't we attacked yet? Jin Yuan replied, the time is not right. The Xingzi has yet to undergo the Xingzi Jia. Chu Daik sighed. He had broken through the Saint Sun tribulation, something unprecedented. Chiyu pointed down, astonished. Brother, what do you mean he hasn't reached the Saint Body tribulation yet? Chu Daik added, I really should thank him for not killing me that day. This time, the tribulation was red. It didn't appear one by one like before, but came in a continuous stream. Something exploded in the air, everyone shouted. Not good, quickly retreat. Tai Suzi tensed. The Saint Physique tribulation had truly begun. Sohu's eyes glowed with golden light. The muscles in his body tensed, his veins bulging. His clothes were torn to shreds. Terrible bolts of lightning crashed down. Sohu braced himself, enduring the onslaught. A crimson lightning bolt, several times larger than normal, shot straight towards Chu Xiu. Its mere appearance was enough to elicit terrified screams. Tai Suzi decided to act. Holy Lord, be careful. She flew to engage the lightning. Jin Yuan said happily. Finally, she can't sit still anymore. Our chance has come. Tai Suzi used his whole body to block the lightning tribulation for Suo Xiu. Jin Yuan ordered the other demon clan members to intervene, forcing their hands into the Saint Child's tribulation. Tai Suzi would definitely be struck by a backlash from the heavens. Eliminating her would allow our demon clan to rise again. Each Yaozu warrior, armed with vicious weapons, lunged forward. Tai Tutu's face was grave. The Yao race had indeed made their move. She transmitted her voice to Chu Xiu. I have placed 5 drops of my origin essence blood above your head. These 5 drops can form a defense, helping you overcome the Saint Body tribulation. Thank you, Grand Ancestor. Leave the rest to me. You can go and fight without worry. Tai Tuzi continuously turned his hands, a few golden leaves swirling into existence. If you want to surround and kill this deity, then come into the boundary with me, don't affect the innocent. A colossal lotus flower formed, completely encasing Tai Suzi and the demonic beasts. One of them confidently said, Tai Suzi has forced out her essence blood. She is extremely weak right now. We must seize this opportunity. The other spectators also activated their spiritual energy, preparing to charge into the attack. They went to help Tai Suo's city master. If she died, the human race would lose an arm and find it difficult to resist the demon race. The group charged forward together. Another tribulation lightning bolt struck Sohu. He coughed up blood. Mo Fian and Chi Mengdai watched with deep concern. Holy Son. Rebel, you must persevere. The lightning still flickers around you, danger is not over yet. The system detects that the host has connected with the bloodline Qiyun of the human race. The saintly body tribulation is about to reach its peak, please prepare yourself, host. Looking at the transparent red string in his hand, he asked it. System, what is the bloodline aura of the human race? It smiled mysteriously. Have you ever seen a corpse in a river of blood? Following the red energy source, a halo of light appeared before him. The scene inside was gruesome. Corpses lay everywhere. Rivers of blood flowed, leaving no survivors. Chu Xiu asked, what is the meaning of this? Don't tell me, this river of blood is formed by the convergence of the blood of the human race. How many people had to die to reach this level? The system laughed again. Host, your understanding is not wrong. The human race is really very tragic. Why is there so much human resentment, when both scenes depict humans killing each other? Where did this scroll come from, and why are humans slaughtering each other like savage beasts? Why am I seeing these scenes? The system said their appearance must have a reason, it's just that the secrets of heaven cannot be revealed. Suashio clasped his hands, performing the final steps. He chanted the incantation, his mind as calm as water, his water as calm as his mind, the wind unruffled, the waves unmoved. 2 girls watched anxiously. Was the saint child about to successfully transcend his tribulation? Damnable wretch, truly only you, at this final crucial moment, must persevere. Suashio saw his final obstacle. It was a man with a burly build, a massive rosary around his neck, and a long spear in his hand. His entire body was as red as blood, as red as the lightning bolts themselves. On this side, Chushio also transformed. His entire body was enveloped in a vibrant gold, his imposing aura no less than his opponent's. Red clashed with gold. Thunder rumbled. Chushio took the initiative, blocking the giant's spear with one hand and shattering him with a fist using the other. The defeated red name vanished. Chushio stood tall and imposing in midair. Sunlight pierced through the dissipating clouds. The crowd cheered. Success! The Saint Physique tribulation has passed. Yi Hongyu also celebrated with him, saying, Chu Xiong, you are amazing! The demon beasts and spirit beasts were stunned. Damn it, he didn't even die. Chu Xiu returned to his original form. Master, I have successfully overcome the tribulation. Chi Mengnai flew over and asked, It seems you are injured? He chuckled. Isn't it because of your master's excellent teaching? She threw a porcelain bottle at him. What are you so proud of? Quickly eat a healing pill and recover your strength. He thanked her politely. She looked at him, also worried about Tai Suzy. This time, the Holy Lord was seriously injured because of you and is still fighting at the barrier against the demon race. In the future, you must find a way to repay this kindness. Su Xiu held the porcelain vase, reassured, I will definitely repay the Holy Lord for saving my life. He sneered, his smile full of scheming. The system chuckled in a sinister way. The little man, not knowing how to repay, could only offer his body. Something exploded in the sky. Its light was blinding. The 3 people on the platform looked up. There is a Saint Emperor who is lost. Someone is slowly emerging from the spatial vortex. It was Tai Suzy. Though her clothes were tattered, her hair disheveled, and her body covered in wounds, her bearing was still strong. The Yao race had lost, the other races fled from the territory of our human race.